going to ask for donations at Walmart, and I'm just like, I've been at the school all day with the book fair.
.6:03 p.m. and this is the Madison Advisory Budget Committee on December 3rd in the lower level of Town Hall. Welcome everyone, and I hope that there are people viewing. Don't know, you never know, can't tell. But we'll do the roll call. So Sarah DiMartino, who is the school board rep to the Budget Committee.
Glad to be here.
Joe Dame, who's vice chair of the Budget Committee. Myself, Sharon Schilling, the chairman of the Budget Committee. And to my left is Joy Gray, selectman's rep to the Budget Committee. Joy, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. It takes us all so long to get up.
I know.
Hey, speak for yourself now.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have no public, but if anybody has something that's not on the agenda and would like to talk about it,
The
or
beautiful wreath might be speaking now.
Right.
It's really great.
Asia, I have something to say.
All right, well then moving on, we'll review the minutes from November 19th. What did I do with them? What did I do with them? I just had it in my hand. I just had two like commas to put in, Linda. And if I can figure out. No. Those are October's. I had them in my hand. Well, I'll just look at these. Maybe I can figure out where they were.
I think the only thing I had was that the road repair budget, I think somewhere we had, in complimenting how happy we were with the paved road ones, I think it came up about getting a similar one for the gravel roads.
Oh, the spreadsheet. You're
Yeah.
talking about, yes, that we liked the spreadsheet for the paved roads. Would it be possible to get one for the gravel roads?
I think that came up in the conversation.
It did. Can we just add a line? Thank you, Linda. They were commas, so they're not that important. If I can't figure out where they were. If I can't find mine. I specifically brought them too.
Can we make a motion to approve with two commas to be added later?
Commas?
Yeah, I know that there were 2 commas. If you would like to make a motion.
If you don't mind.
I can let Linda know where the commas are where I had thought they should go.
All right, I make a motion to approve the minutes of November 19th as amended by just noted, and then also by 2 commas to be added later.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
In the interest of
Timeliness.
timeliness.
I know that I had them, they were right here. All right, let's go back to first on the list. 2025 draft budget. This is the same, Linda, has there been any changes since you presented this at the selectmen's meeting, do you know?
Yes, the executive line, selectmen stipend line changed at the meeting. That was the only thing that changed.
The ambulance budget is going down by almost $13,000.
Sorta, kinda.
Say again?
Sorta, kinda.
Sorta, kinda.
I believe the $133 that was approved was too much in the first place.
They over-approved. Oh, just because maybe they didn't have the concrete number.
I
and-
think that, I don't
Okay, so the
remember why
actual
that
was,
number,
lower,
right,
yeah.
but, so it, let's see. I think we still have one more month to pay, so we're at about 115, so it really probably did go up about by $5,000,
Okay.
give or take, but, yeah, it wasn't that much of a savings really.
Conservation Commission, up almost 100%. I mean, in real numbers, it's $4,000, but
He added 3 lines.
they added 3 lines?
Yeah, number 2, 3, and 4 are new lines for them.
Yep, the digitizing of the properties.
They had that last year, but they had it in their supplies.
Okay.
So they took it out of the supplies and made it its own line. And they kept the supplies and created its own line.
And the bulk of that is for legal, and that's review of the Crow property easement. $3,000 to review an easement?
That's what they got as a estimate.
Really? Is it that complicated of an easement?
Things are expensive.
Well, I mean,
Anytime
lawyers are,
attorney,
if you,
yeah,
I
yeah.
always use $500 an hour.
Yeah, at least.
So that's 6 hours of review of an easement?
Better get it
Wow.
now.
They better get it right.
Wow, prepare all the papers and filings.
conservation property records, digitizing, a camp scholarship.
I like that camp scholarship.
I think my question about that though, is that that's kind of like a donation.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, shouldn't be included here. It
Should be in
included as a
charitable.
warrant article kind of
Right,
idea.
I think so too, I agree with you.
Yeah, but I do like that they're doing it.
Well, they tried to do it the last couple of years, but they weren't, it wasn't coming from their budget, it was coming
Right.
from like their gift account.
Right.
Why doesn't it come
Probably
from their
should be
gift
some.
account? That's where it should
So-
come from.
Right.
Either their gift account or in a warrant article.
That's,
Can we make that recommendation that it get moved to either a warrant article or come from their gift account? It should not be in the town's operating budget?
There's a meeting on Thursday, and I am the rep for that, so I'm making that note right now.
Go ahead.
Try to remember to email Kate so they have the heads up before the, well, she already did all the documents, I think. She already sent out everything.
yeah, I'll try and remember to, I can mention it too.
Green Mountain Conservation Fee 10% increase.
For the water quality testing.
Right. Is that Silver Lake? Or
Believe
Forest
so.
Brook, or all of them, or? They haven't expended anything?
They haven't paid it yet. It's gonna be paid this coming Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay. So they'll expend all of that, the
It is-
$16.50?
Yeah. And then in that same letter that came with the bill, it said that it'll be
There'll be
10% more next year.
Right, there'll be a 10% increase. Thank you very much for your business. Yeah, it's that legal. That's causing most of the increase. Okay.
Which I'm sure is just like a one-time thing, not ongoing, so. Hopefully, right?
So we're going from 160, I'm down in the Department of Public Works. In the salaries line, full-time hourly, we're going from 165,000 to 235,000? Almost a $70,000 increase. Is that due to more people? What is that? It's a 42% increase.
I wanna say some of it came out of they took a lot out of the part-time seasonal line.
But added it back in.
That's down 38%. The other line went up.
42%.
But then, but they added the 72,000 as a separate line. So that's kind of a 100% increase, kind of.
Yeah, so the 72,000, which was in the,
Shy of 13,000.
Well, they added the new employee this year too.
They did add a full-time employee.
yeah, but he wouldn't make a $110,000
No,
difference.
Half of that.
Because if you look at,
Half of that's nothing.
well, actually, it's like $56,000, 5610 from last year. So really, this isn't going up anything other than that one additional person, and they just shifted around the money in other lines. Took it out of
Other line
part-time,
items,
took
yeah.
it out of part-time seasonal,
Yeah.
which it probably never should have been in there to begin with, but,
Well, they probably had somebody to plow, like during, that's what my guess is, but.
no, well, cause the DPW director's salary was in that part-time seasonal.
What's the breakout? It looks like personnel costs 26,250, and then FICA, workers' comp.
That's,
NHIS.
And then HRS is 45.
Yeah, those are my notes.
Yeah.
So that I know where, in the personnel administration line, how I got my numbers. Those, it just helps me to know that
So 26,250 is salary, and then benefits, FICA, workers' comp.
Workman's comp, yeah.
Or is it
And
that the
New Hampshire
26 is the
retirement.
FICA and workers' comp, and then the 45 is the NHRS?
No,
Retirement
NHRS wouldn't have been 45,
I don't know.
not for a
No,
single
yeah,
person.
I was reading here, I was like, I didn't put enough in it. No, well, no, well, they're both about 7%. Let me think. I'll double check on.
I'm not here. Well, if you, instead of, if you could just check on that,
Yeah,
and we'll get clarification.
I know it's not a lot of money, $700, but it's just, still use that many landlines?
Everybody,
I think you have to, right?
Well, they have 3 landlines that they pay for, one at the upper garage, one at the lower garage, one at the transfer station.
Yeah.
And they do run around $70 a month a line.
I just transferred mine off a landline, it was $100 a month just for a residential landline.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when, I was telling at one of the other meetings, when we went over to the new contract, they said, oh, it's gonna be the same amount of money with,
Yeah.
oh, but then there's gonna be fees and blah, 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 and those fees and stuff really added up. So
it almost doubled it.
the number that I gave to everybody to base their phone lines on was before we got bills. And then when bills started coming in, everybody was running over.
Then there's a 4th line under the supply line, or
What? I'm sorry.
under the supply, it's a line used by admin, or just, that
Oh,
doesn't mean
it's-
landline, that just means.
No, yeah, it's that particular line of the budget.
Okay.
All the admin, the highway, and the solid waste all use that line for supplies.
Under DPW's
Correct,
admin,
yes.
DPW highway, DPW
That's what my
solid
cryptic
waste.
note meant.
Back to the other one as I'm jumping around, transfer station and upper and lower garages, do they have generators?
The transfer station doesn't, but the lower garage does.
Okay, because I switched from Consolidated to Fidium, so within, the same company. But like I said, my landline was $100 a month, and if you have power, then the Fidium fiber phone will work. So if they have generators, that would work, and then it's kind of the same concept of the landline goes down when the tree goes over it. And same thing with the Fidium, it would only go down if a tree went over it, as long as it has a power supply. So I don't know, again, it's,
Well, the trouble is that we locked into a 3-year contract with the phone.
Yep.
So we still have at least another 2
2 more
years
years.
with it before we'll be able to switch over. And I think at that point, would be our computer IT guys have said we will look into something doing more like
Mhm.
Fidium,
Yeah.
Spectrum or whatever.
Voice over IP or something. And the uniforms, how many more years do we have on that contract with those
It was
uniforms?
a 5-year contract, and I don't remember how many years it was on
I think there's probably 4 more years.
it. At least
There's at least 3.
how come it went up so much?
It was,
Well,
that's what's
they,
probably in the
so
contract.
it was at 15,000, and then Josh brought it down to 7,500. Then when we then found out that we were bound by the contract, so he's spent almost $10,000 on uniforms as it is, so that's why he increased it to about 10,000 for next year.
And that's cleaning them and providing them and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, that, and there's, jackets for the
Right.
guys, their bright jackets, those kinds of things,
Yeah.
vests,
Highway
like transfer
safety type.
station kind of stuff, those
Yeah.
all kind of come out of there.
Makes sense. $10,000 for how many people? Do you know how many people is this uniforms for? Do we know?
Well,
All of DPW.
all of them pretty much, well, we'll get jackets or vests or something
Right.
like that, but I
Yeah.
wanna say, 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 5 or 6 of the guys have their the Cintas takes care of their pants and shirts.
No, you're paying for the pickup, delivery.
No, I know,
Yeah,
we used to do it at the school,
yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, we added a person, is that gonna change this contract number?
It's gonna be extra for the,
Is it?
I
Or is
assume
it,
it will
or,
be.
I don't know what the contract says, whether it's,
I don't know.
By
if you
a
have 1 to,
person, maybe?
if you have 1 to 5, it's this much, if you have 5 to 10, it's this much, and we have 6, so we're in this
I
much
don't
no
know if
matter
it's by
what.
people as it is garments.
Or
You have to
pieces.
commit to so many pieces. of-
Pieces, yeah, and I don't know if.
Yeah, I'm
if
not sure how they do it.
adding an additional person changes the number of pieces that we, and that changes the, whatever. Anyway, I'm just trying to figure that out since I have no idea what the contract looks like.
Do we know, and this, I don't think it came up the other day, Linda, do we know if anybody else is adding staff? I mean, we've kind of talked about an office assistant kind of thing, but is any other department? And we know police officer, right?
Yeah, other than that, not that I know of.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything except for those.
So I'm looking at the top of page 5 with the calcium chloride and the cold patch, and there's a bunch of, there's not a bunch, there's at least 2 significant negative numbers there. One in parts and one in contract services, yet they've not changed their budget in those lines. Is there any explanation or any?
I can't speak to the parts line, but I wanna say contract services, there were several times that the grader was in there. Renting of a grader, that won't be necessary. Well,
It better not be necessary, but I'm wondering if there's any other piece of equipment that is, you know, I mean, most of our equipment is, well, I shouldn't say most, some of it's probably, half of it's probably fairly old.
They
And-
were renting a ditcher or something, you know, to clean the ditches, I think.
And if, until they buy a new chipper, they would have to rent a chipper, so. I'm just wondering if, maybe they should just take a look at that and just double check that that's realistic to leave that as the same number as 20,000 for the contract services. And then I guess I would look at the last 3 years' worth of parts. And if it's 90% of those parts are the grader, then okay. But if they're not, then they should be looking at that parts number as well.
I think a lot of that was the old transfer station truck and the grader that
I don't know.
continue, you know, repair all the time.
Right, you'd have to pull out that
Pull out
part
the-
of the QuickBooks and see.
Hopefully that, yeah, that number should be down now that we have newer equipment.
Right. Salt, sand, signs. Okay. Again, in Parks and Rec, there's $4,000 overspent on general maintenance.
Well, that was the
zero
mower.
turn mower this year.
Well, that's what caused it to go over necessarily, but it can't be the only, oh, maybe it is the only thing, because the zero turn was almost $5,000.
It
That
was,
was
it
the
was
only thing.
expensive, yeah.
Yeah, so that would have put them about 1,000 or so. How could that be? Wait. They only have 650 in their general maintenance line for Parks and Rec? Does that make sense? For all the stuff that they do, like the rafts and
There's a separate line for rafts and
Separate
docks.
for rafts, sanitation, yeah. Yeah.
And all their supplies come out of the other line, that general line up above.
Does it for when they maintain the fields
Is
and
that the
everything?
baseball fields, right?
Yeah.
That's what I care about.
Well,
Probably, but people, like, we line them ourselves, you
Yeah.
know, it's not like, so, it's not like they're doing that kind of stuff up
and I
there.
wanna say like we
They
took
mow it,
paint out
or,
of general
right,
or something.
like,
Mhm.
it's not like there's not a lot.
Well, they have to buy the
Lime,
lime
like
and the
stuff,
machine,
right.
make sure the machine's working. The
Yeah.
little-
Yeah, but we all do that ourselves.
Do you? Do you guys put
Yeah.
down the field
Yeah,
lines?
yeah, we do.
Mhm.
The coaches do it for sure.
All
Adam
right,
does it.
brush pit.
Jeff does it. Jake does it. We all do it. Because it's important to us.
So they
Yeah.
were over in maintenance for solid waste disposal. And they're over in recycling.
Maintenance, I think a lot of that was from the old backhoe.
That backhoe?
Backhoe was broken a
416.
lot.
A lot of
Yeah,
that came
A
out.
lot. And once in a while, the compactors, like the hydraulic or the motor goes out or something, they have to fix, yeah.
I'm presuming John looked at this and is,
He's seen it.
yeah. All right, moving on. Food pantry welfare director. Oh my gosh.
You okay?
Yeah, with hiccups.
Drink your water upside down. Do a handstand.
All right, hold my breath.
Actually, I can teach how to cure hiccups. Works in 90% of people.
I just have to make sure my breathing and my
That's part of it.
thing in there are in sync. Internet supplies, welfare director. That's not, okay, only part of that is the stipend for the welfare director.
Correct. But we have an agreement to take care of her internet bill
Her
with
internet,
Freedom.
do we take care of the whole bill
No,
or
take
a
care of
portion of it?
2/3 of it. Freedom pays 1/3, we pay 2/3. We have an agreement with them to share those expenses.
The wheels in my head are spinning, like, we're presuming that that person would not have internet except for the fact that they're the welfare director, like, they. So if somebody's internet bill is $100 a month, we're paying 66 of it, right? And Freedom's paying 33.
Yeah.
Okay, which means she's doing nothing on that internet except, she or he is doing nothing on that internet except welfare director stuff,
Oh, no.
right?
It's her
Right,
personal,
so,
right. But that's
so-
part of the agreement. I mean, we only pay her $2,000 to be at our beck and call all year too, when you think about it.
Does it make sense that the food pantry is only 2,500 and the welfare is 4,000? I don't know how often we call on the welfare person.
Well, that welfare line doesn't pay for the welfare director. That's for how much money we need to help to assist people with.
Yeah, we work.
Isn't
together.
that a warrant article? No?
It's
Not from
always
the,
been-
not, there's warrant articles on there for like
The-
heat and that
for-
kind of stuff, but if
yeah.
someone came here and needed their electric bill paid,
Or their
That-
mortgage, or whatever.
something
Right.
that would come out of that welfare.
Right.
That plain welfare line.
Yeah, because, I mean, Linda and I, we get calls all the time.
I'm
We-
sure.
We talk back and forth on,
It's important to help
And
people.
like this fuel assistance we
Right.
coordinated
And
and
to,
stuff.
and to put a feather in Tracy, our welfare director's cap for the $2,000 that we pay her. She knows where to send these people to get assistance versus us
Before.
having to help.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's
Right.
why, so she's worth her weight in gold in terms of how much little we really have to
So only,
assist with.
only a portion of that, or is the welfare director's salary or stipend in some other line? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
No, her that number 3, welfare director, is gonna pay her $2,000 stipend
Oh, okay.
and
The internet,
the internet.
mileage, training,
Mileage.
and
postage,
if
all
she
that kind of
takes a
stuff. And then
class
the-
or any of those kinds of
Right,
things
right.
would come out
And
of
the
there.
4,000 is direct assistance to the public.
Exactly.
Okay. I don't know why.
I mean, everything from taking care of someone to be cremated comes out of that, taking care of someone who can't pay their electric bill,
The
you know.
big things, utilities and,
Yeah.
heat.
Where there's homeless,
And
somebody
we
gets
have
homeless, they
homeless-
need to
If,
go.
homeless.
if you need, and see, she knows the ins and outs of
Right,
that too.
right.
She knows where shelters are and that kind of stuff, so we don't necessarily have to.
It's an important job.
It is important.
There's so many
I'm
calls.
not negating that, I
Right.
just
No, no,
didn't
yeah.
understand the
Right,
numbers.
where it was coming from.
And
No,
on the
she-
food pantry, it used to be $2,000. I think it was 3 years ago, Linda. It was Bill Lord, John Aruda, and I forget who the other selectman was,
Oh, gosh.
Josh, and they said they increased it by $500. It was $2,000 for years. And we did a presentation, and Bill Lord made a motion to increase it to $2,500.
Is that enough, Joe, do you think, for 25?
No, we're doing fine. That's, yeah, I wouldn't, no complaints. We receive a lot of community support,
Right.
like for the new building and stuff.
Right.
So, no, we're doing fine.
Oh, good.
But that's the history, that's where the $2,500 came from.
Okay. And then the next one is elections. Since we don't have a big election coming,
We only have 1 next year versus 4 that we had this year.
Right.
We have the town
That's
in
it.
March, right? That's it? The only
That's
one?
it.
That's right, yeah. There's
Yeah.
no
There's
federal
no
or state.
primaries and
Yeah,
runoffs
okay.
and,
No.
Thank God we need a break.
oh, yes, we do.
2-year break, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So that drops down. Emergency Management Communications, the director. The emergency management director, it says 100 hours at, it just, is that a contract with him, 100 hours at $25 per hour, or
No.
is that just what, an estimate?
It's an estimate. Basically, when it comes, we're kind of calling it out because when it comes to reimbursement from FEMA,
Yeah,
you have to have, you
have
just
to
can't
have
have a number.
documentation to
you
show
know?
them, yeah.
So if we can prove that's
do
how
we,
we come up with that number.
do we track him?
Um,
Sounds
I-
weird, like putting a
Yeah, I know what you're
tracker
saying.
on. Yeah.
It's always just been a lump sum stipend.
Mhm.
Right, I get that, yeah.
And that's kind of just to cover us, I guess. It doesn't, I don't know if it's an average of $100 at $25 an hour kind of thing.
He's
It's not written in
probably
stone.
doing more than that. but
Well, I
it's
was gonna
just
say,
for FEMA
I mean, to
reimbursement.
know, to
Yeah.
sort of know maybe, like, is 100 hours reasonable for him to do as the fire chief, the tax collector, the emergency management director? Is somebody ever gonna look at that and go, there's no way he could do 100 hours? Should that maybe be 75 hours at $32 an hour
I see what
kind of
you're saying.
thing?
Yeah.
I think it was just a way to put a dollar
No.
amount per hour.
Yeah, to
Just
justify
services.
for
More than
for FEMA, yeah.
For FEMA's, yeah, they have to have
Well, it
things
depends
called
on the
out.
year, I would suspect.
Right.
Hopefully-
Last year probably was.
Last year was
Yeah,
very
hopefully it
busy.
won't come into play again, but,
Good, knock on some wood, oh my gosh.
So the maintenance number,
it's
it's
mostly,
got like $900 left.
and it's mostly generators.
It's mostly generators.
maintain 5 of them, the one for the school,
Right.
and then the 4
The
for
ones
these
here.
buildings.
Eventually, there'll be a second one for the school. They're trying to work on putting a second
We are,
generator in for
that's,
the,
we haven't made a lot of progress on that.
no, I haven't
We're
heard
waiting
back
for a
from-
better cost estimates.
Yeah, and they may have to wait a year or so to get that better cost.
Yeah, I
estimate.
gotta follow up with Jim.
Yeah. It says EOP in 2024.
We had to pay some of the emergency operation plan balance this year. From like 2 years, I know, we finally got finalized. It took like 2 years for it to get approved.
That was one of the issues, when I called about the generator to the state for the.
Right, because we
grant,
needed an approved.
She said that they were
The
still
date.
waiting on our approved plan, and I spoke with Mike Brooks about it. He said it was done, they were just waiting for approval, so the state finally
I'm pretty sure
approved
we
it.
got it.
Okay, all right.
So
Fine.
that was
Yeah.
like just the leftover amount we paid for somebody to write it? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we
it has
take
to be
that out of
done.
maintenance?
Well,
That's interesting.
comes
I guess
to
I don't know
emergency
where-
management's responsibility, and
Yeah.
where else would you?
Was it every 5 years or something, the plan has to be updated or
That,
something?
yeah, and then we have the hazard mitigation plan that
Yeah.
gets updated on the opposite year, so there's always something
Yeah.
in the works.
All right, executive.
Are we adding fees or just fees have gone up that much?
Well,
or-
they've gone up. The QuickBooks went insane on us. We had to, now we pay for our payroll for the last couple of years because of some glitchy kind of thing going on. We weren't paying for the payroll section of it. When I finally walked in one day and it wasn't working, I was like, oh, that's weird, and I called and found out why. So now we're paying
Oh,
for it.
jeez. They shut it off because we didn't subscribe or something?
So-
They probably
yeah,
said, oh, they're not subscribing to
Free
this.
trial right
Well,
now.
it could be that, we might be using a payroll service, and
Or something, yeah.
they don't know.
Yeah.
And then the notary, the town pays to keep us as notaries,
Yeah.
and next year I land with my notary and justice, so it's $150 for
Mhm.
fees for that. Then we get the regular ones, the dam registration, our New Hampshire Municipal Association dues, that one's the
Washington Valley
association.
Economic Council?
Yep, that's right, and then the other one's the assessors board.
For
But the
the-
big hit was the QuickBooks.
So and that's because we're still doing a desktop version and they're trying to push to the cloud?
That's what everybody says,
Yeah.
that's what I've heard, yeah,
And we pay for an annual subscription?
yeah.
When does it start again?
Let me think.
Oh, you know this off the top of your head.
I wanna say it might be in, well, I just had to redo it, that's why we're kinda so far over. I don't remember, next fall sometime.
Okay. Can we look at different options?
To
Probably
be
by
on the
next fall.
cloud with it, you mean?
Or just whatever their different pricing options are. I mean, and if it's on the cloud, you can log in from home. Not that I want you working from home, but just if it's
Well, yeah, I know that part of the reason they didn't want us on the cloud is just the chance of being hacked or something like that. I don't know if that's really a fear or not, but for whatever reason, our IT guys have always recommended that we keep it as a desktop version,
yeah, it's becoming cost prohibitive though.
but yeah, can look into it.
When they hack into it, they're gonna charge you like, right?
Yeah, we know somebody in cloud security, so.
Right.
Well, the other thing is, realistically, what are the chances of somebody hacking into a 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 person town?
Well,
No, they do.
It's happened
With
at the
ransomware,
village district.
yeah.
right, they did.
Did they?
Hospitals,
What did?
towns.
Video, Village District?
Idlewise got hacked.
Edelweiss did, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it
That was an
it
inside
happened.
job.
That was a rumor too.
Oh my The elementary school got hacked by phishing. Just something came in an
Yeah.
email, somebody clicked the
Somebody
link.
clicked on it.
Right.
Clickbait.
So it happens.
All right, anything else in that section?
I did take the office assistant out in anticipation of maybe going into the general law.
Right.
Area.
So we haven't removed that position, we've just moved where it's being accounted for.
That would, that's where I'd like to see it.
Yeah, and we still have to put together a job description and
Yeah.
how much, pay and all of that, and whether or not, I mean, I think it would be helpful
Oh.
to get you to not be giving out dump stickers all day.
Can't
My,
believe
my record is 79 in one day.
79
Oh.
dump. Yes, like, and you think to yourself how much time that takes you,
Oh,
because it's a
sure.
couple minutes each time.
And the interruption is the kicker.
Right.
If
And
I
now
could
I gotta-
stand there and write 79 of them, that'd be great,
Well,
but it doesn't
right,
happen that way.
right.
Right, now you gotta
That's really
refocus your
middle
head.
And I gotta say, that was a couple of
Plus Linda does the boat stickers.
years.
Yeah.
So,
So,
you
yeah.
know,
Not
how
this time of
many,
year.
300
Right.
boat stickers in the summer or whatever, yeah. So,
Part of my vision would be to get Linda out of that common area. Not that we have so much room in this building, but
It's a pretty big building.
but
Put her
a lot of
in
office
an office
space,
where she
but
can work
Right.
work
uninterrupted.
door closed, uninterrupted.
kind of, yeah.
Well, you might want to ask Linda how she feels about that. too.
Right.
I said
She
that's my
might
dream. I didn't
like
say that
the
was hers.
contact. Yeah. Okay, so again, the office assistant is not removed, it's just the
It's-
position for where
I'd
where,
put it as, my
in
thought was
general
that-
government
Right,
buildings.
because where it would help
be
all
a
the different
floater.
departments.
Right, as opposed to just the
The
executive
selections
piece.
office, right.
Yeah, the thought for those just tuning into the conversation is that to get a floater for Linda and Kate for code enforcement, because he spends so much time making sure boxes are checked on applications, or a certain, like a floor plan is attached, or that the fee was calculated correctly. Like,
Right.
he's too busy for that. So if
Oh,
we
God.
had an office assistant who could
Go through
do
those.
some of that, just very basic
Pre-screen
manual.
the
Yeah.
stuff before Bob gets it.
Yeah, and then same thing with the police department, if they just have very basic, paperwork.
Filing or-
Yeah, doesn't need to be like the privacy police stuff, but if they just have like filing and basic stuff, that would help them administratively. Just to get,
And even, I bet DPW could probably even benefit from it.
yeah,
So there, yeah, there'd be enough.
There'd be enough
you know,
work to
little-
go
little
around.
things to go
Yeah,
around, sure.
to be a Gal Friday, so to speak. Yeah.
my
Thank
kid's
you.
Facebook Messenger is on my phone, so I can monitor. Apparently he's
Ah.
Uh-oh.
Chatting with his friends tonight,
Okay.
quite a bit.
So realistically, this all of this adds up to just this, is that correct? That work out right? That when you're going through the difference is really just the selectmen, it's the same number
Well, I
as the
took-
selectman
I-
stipend.
So the $6,000, I moved it within my budget. I didn't, I didn't carry the $6,000 over the other line. I used it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And then we add the selectman stipend.
right, but just purely from a number standpoint, if you're adding up everything in that column, it's interesting that it all comes out to the exact same number as, the bottom line number is the same number as the selectmen's number, even though there are these other,
Oh, right, because before we did the selectmen's number, I didn't add anything to the budget. That line stayed the same. I had it at $77,070 last year and this year, and then we just added the selectmen increase for the number of selectmen.
but the admin assistant goes up, and the fees and the dues go up, so
But I
that,
took the office assistant $6,000 and used that towards all that. And there's a couple other lines, I took a couple $100 out of training, a couple $100 out of office supplies.
yeah.
I just moved it around.
Okay. Everything in financial admin stays the same with the exception of the top two lines.
And what's the computer support for?
That's Avatar systems for their tax collect and clerk. Their software fees went up.
Wow. That's a lot. And it's Avatar for both different systems?
Yep, they have a clerk and a tax collect. We have a building code, building permits one, and then an assessing one.
It only went up 221.
Right.
Yeah.
I was looking at like the number.
The 8,200.
Yeah, I was adding up like the 4,200 and the 4,000, I'm like, what up, 4,000 each? That's a lot, but no, that is
No.
in total.
Wrong number.
Got it, sorry.
And then the deputy town clerk tax collector, that's a salary increase, or
Yes.
is that's effective January 1st, or?
It would be, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, obviously. So how do we reconcile that? I mean, this is something that I've been thinking about for a while. We don't vote on any of this until March,
March, whatever.
but these pay raises take effect January 1st. So if, God forbid, the town said no to the budget, we're not gonna do that.
Not gonna do what?
We're not gonna accept this budget. We vote the budget down, right?
They have to vote something in. We can't operate with a zero budget.
Well, they could just say, we're gonna operate with last year's budget. Use that number, right? Which is, I don't know.
Well, to make it super simple, if I know where you're going with this, hypothetically, everything stays the same except there are personnel increases. And everybody says, nope, we want last year's budget. What happens to the personnel increases?
You can't take it away from them, so you would find it somewhere else in the budget to pay
Yeah,
for
you'd
it.
have to pull it out of another line.
It wouldn't come out necessarily of,
Is that kind of where you were going with it?
Yeah, kind of like what's the backup plan? And maybe there's a better way as we're doing this, because we have a town budget every year. Maybe there's a better way that those pay increases start in March or April 1st, when after the budget
After
is
the meeting.
passed.
Yeah.
And then
But they need to get like a raise every year.
they would every April
But it'll be
1st.
But you
April
said if
1st.
they don't go through, then it would be the
Oh,
same
if people vote it down,
situation, right?
if people vote it down.
It'd be the
If people
same-
vote it down
It'd
and
be the
say,
same, you'd be stuck in the same situation, right?
no, because it would default to last year's, you could on the floor default it to last year's budget, which would then keep everything the same, including salaries.
I mean, in corporate America, your company doesn't do well, people aren't getting raises, bonuses.
Well, and even in federal budgeting purposes, people don't get pay raises until, the federal government guys don't get pay
That's the beauty
raises
of us
until
not being the
after
federal
October.
government or corporate.
Well, but it's still municipal budgeting or governmental budgeting.
Right.
What we're doing is we're paying for things that we haven't approved of
Right.
yet.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. The
Right.
federal government, you don't get a pay raise until after the
Until it's
FY budget
approved.
is
Right.
approved, yeah.
Right,
I don't know,
so.
it's just, I don't know, it's just traditionally the way that it's.
Right.
So is there an opportunity to have a conversation? It's obviously too late for this year. This is these are gonna go through the way that they are. But going through, and there'll be one year that's weird. The very first year would end up being weird. But I'd like to be able to sit down with the selectmen and say, you know, and even during the, you know, I know, not last October, the October before, the selectmen voted for a pay raise for transfer station folks. Well, we were mid-budget. It was October, and the salary increases were taking effect immediately. Except that nobody ever explained out of what budget line that was going to come from, a budget that had already been passed and had already been allocated that did not have salary increases in it. You can plan and say, if I know I'm going to give my people salary increases or want to give them salary increases, I'm going to plan to do that. And if they warrant it, I'm going to plan that in my budget for, you know, June, for giving people a pay raise in June. Because it's been a while since we hired a guy in June. He wouldn't be really due for another pay raise until June a year later, kind of thing. So I know, in working through the budget, I plan for that person to have a pay raise in June, which works into your numbers.
Yeah, I guess that would be a conversation for the selectmen.
Madam Selectman?
I'm taking notes and trying to wrap my head around it.
Do we end up, can we have like a working group discussion about that, or is that something that we do at a public meet, or, at a regular Board of Selectmen's meeting, or whatever? But anyway, let me know, because it's chilly in here. And, I mean,
Where's the heating line in this? No, I'm kidding.
I don't know, just kind of like,
pretty low.
You guys can't sit everywhere.
okay.
just kind of thinking through it in my head real quick, just to have like, honestly, it almost seems like our budget year should start April 1st. I don't know how screwy that would put your world, Linda, in terms of the finances, but having our budget year start April 1st is, I mean, how many do
State-
all towns?
There's a reason
State of New
why.
Hampshire makes it.
Right.
Makes it
that's just like-
January?
Makes it January 1st?
There's a
Town
reason
meetings in
why.
March.
Yeah,
Right.
and everybody's in that same kind of boat.
Right.
You're supposed to, like, not buy anything that goes over and above being, just normal operations,
Yeah.
until the budget
Yeah, it's
is
like
passed.
being in a, what do they call it when they?
Continuing resolution.
Yeah, it's like being in a continuing resolution. You can only operate at last year's budget
1/12
levels. Yeah,
per month.
per month.
I don't know, kind of thinking out loud, like have an annual review cycle after the first of the year, and performance reviews, appraisals kind of in that time frame. And if the budget gets passed, this is what we would propose your raise would be effective April 1st. And then following year, the
Same thing
3 years
happens.
done, performance reviews, appraisals, April 1st.
Salary increase. They'd still happen every year.
They'd still get a pay raise.
Yeah, absolutely. And
It's
I'm
just
not,
when
I'm
you're,
not saying
when
people,
you're shifting it to.
right, I'm not,
But
and
we should-
I'm saying that now we're shifting it to when the town voters are saying yes
You
to
have an
it.
approved budget
Right.
to pay the additional
Correct.
salaries.
The way that we're currently doing it, the town folk, the citizenry, the residents are kind of caught in a, you're in a gray area because the pay increase has already happened. And you can't, how are you gonna take it away from somebody? You're gonna say,
You
oh,
can't,
the town didn't vote for it, so now we're taking $2,500 a year back off of your pay. Nobody's gonna do that, that's ridiculous. Why would you ever do that to somebody? So this way, I think, with planning for them on April 1st, after the budget has been passed, gives the town a better budgeting mechanism. And a cycle for when salary increases and things of that nature would happen, as opposed to, right now, it's whenever somebody brings it before the Board of Selectmen, correct?
What, a raise?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brought
Yeah,
in
that-
a non-public, yeah.
Okay, moving on then. Anything else in the financial administration piece?
The auditor's line might change, because we have
Oh,
to
I
go
would
into a new
imagine.
contract for 2025.
Right.
With any luck, they'll keep it pretty close.
Right, hopefully only go up $100 kind of deal. And this could change. Could change. We need the new numbers from them. All right, moving on to the fire department. Contracted services for the fire department was 166%. So they're at 60% over budget. So he is increasing his budget to 4,000.
What is contracted service again? Is that,
That's fire hydrants, isn't it? Is that, no?
No, it was software. I thought it was
Yeah,
the.
Oh, is that iWorks?
iWorks
and
for the fire.
Oh, the fire
firehouse software.
Yeah, tracking the fires.
Do we
and
need
reporting.
both those softwares now that we have iWorks?
I
I
think
don't
they
know how
serve
they
different purposes.
Yeah, different purposes. I think.
Like iWork is purely for equipment, and then Firehouse is for more for personnel.
No,
Believe.
it's equipment.
And
Equipment
tracking
too.
calls and
Yeah, well, yeah,
that
that's
kind
what-
of stuff, yeah.
That's what I meant by personnel, like
Yeah.
the people tracking, calls tracking and stuff. That's my. Where's Rick?
I bring this up every year, and the reimbursement for the fire department members has
Yes.
been at that 44,500 for like 10 years plus. And that we discussed this last year. have we given consideration to increasing that? I'm not sure what Chief Brooks's view is on that.
No,
I'd
and
asked it-
well, go ahead.
I'd asked a few meetings ago, like, how is that distributed?
Yeah,
And
that's,
it's really complex. There's a point system there, like it's this whole complex calculation thing. So, somebody had said to me that like point systems are outdated in New Hampshire fire departments. People don't really use them anymore. They're not efficient. They're not accurate. That was one person's thoughts on it. I have no idea. I have zero experience. I would just be curious to, first of all, make sure people are getting, to understand how they're compensated, to make sure they're getting compensated fairly. But without understanding how that point system works, it's hard to know whether or not.
no, but that
That's
price
for the
has been
volunteer,
fixed,
right?
that cost has been fixed
Right.
for a decade now.
I don't know about that.
I think it's been a long time. I remember we brought this up last year, and I think Linda actually looked, the reimbursement rate has been at the $44,500 for a long time.
Been a few years.
A few
They-
years.
I wanna say it
Get like a-
actually came down. It was at like 49, I wanna say.
Well, that's
I
because we
think it
had
went
more
down to 40.
people.
We had
out,
more-
too. We had
more
more
members.
volunteers and stuff.
But, the costs, for their fuel and, their time coming back and forth to the, answering the calls, the training, is 44K enough? I
How many
I don't
calls do we
know. I have
get?
to-
How much
Yeah,
traveling
no,
are
but
they doing?
are
How
we
many people are able to
adequately
show up?
reimbursing the members for their
I'm
time?
gonna defer to the chief,
Yeah.
since he knows
I-
if he's not
he
paying his
didn't-
people enough, he's gonna lose them.
He
No-
didn't make a change.
Right, and he
Yeah.
didn't make a change.
No, I was just curious,
The change I would like to see made is that these poor people get govna until the very end of the year.
that's what I mean, yeah.
Why can't we take this number, 44,000, and break it into quarters? And so you have, let's say, 12,000 each quarter, and it's based on those points in that quarter, and people can get the money a little earlier, so that it's being handed out, or not handed out, but it's being reimbursed to them on a quarterly basis, as opposed to waiting until the end of the year, because it always wonks out his budget a little bit, because you see that he hasn't spent that 44.5. This way it would be, 1/4 of it would be spent every quarter. and it
Plus,
would go down.
the members are out of pocket for a year.
Correct.
On their gas, their time mileage, training, whatever they're doing. Yeah, so I think the quarterly system would be fairer to the actual members.
Do they get reimbursement anywhere else for like
Yeah,
gas?
I don't know.
No,
I
this
think
is,
so.
That's
just
it?
this.
Just that?
yeah, this is the,
I don't know, I just,
I mean, I'm sure
I
they
wanna
know
make sure
that going
we're-
into this,
Yeah,
just say,
they do.
just
It's
say.
I know, but we want to be fair too.
I see,
you know.
I get it.
but I
We have a
think
good fire department, good
part-
volunteers.
Yeah, no, I agree, trust me,
Yeah.
I like being.
Linda was
fair.
trying to say something.
Sorry.
Well, I think part of the fairness of it is if you take the whole year as an average, everyone has the opportunity to have gone to calls in the same time period. So if you have like the younger kids who maybe are, say an 18-year-old who's home from school, all summer, he could work like crazy and not work any of the other times and bloat the numbers in
Mhm.
one quarter versus where if you
That's true.
do the whole thing throughout the entire year, you have everyone having the same ability to have worked the same time frame
But
throughout
they
the
don't,
entire year.
they don't limit who responds to which
No.
call.
No.
So, because an 18-year-old is responding to a call in the summer,
And only in the summer.
And
is what I'm
only in the
saying.
summer,
Yeah,
right.
It's just, I'm just, it's a
well,
thought,
and maybe we
throw
can just
another
bring it up
part
with
of
the chief and see if there's a
No,
way
I'm just
to
curious.
do that on a quarterly basis as opposed to an annual basis.
If you have a busy year and, like you said, we have more people turning out for calls, each member is gonna get less money, right? Because you have
Per
a fixed
call.
pool.
Per
Yeah,
call,
per
right.
call.
Sure. So
Yeah,
at the
so,
end, you
yeah.
come up with a number and at each point is you see, gets a dollar amount.
Right.
Sure.
But, I don't know, I just wanna make sure we're being fair to the members too.
Yeah, we can ask
We can ask
chief
chief.
to give a
No,
written.
I'm just, I'm not sure how the point system works.
Like a written
That's why-
explanation.
That's why I'm asking.
Well, maybe he could show us how it works.
I think somebody
Use
did
last
tell
year's.
us, I remember, like, definitely feel like we've had this conversation.
No, I brought it up last year too, I know.
Yeah, it's like the
Alright.
first point is 1 to 4 hours on a call.
Right.
And then each hour after that, you get another point. So if you showed up for a 6-hour call, you would get 3 points, one for the first 4 hours, and then one
So
additional
they just
after
log that all year, then at the end of the year, they
They say, okay,
divide
we
up
have,
the pool.
yeah, we have 800 points, and they divide it by that number.
So
you know.
it's $50 a point. or
Whatever,
what,
yeah, it
40
varies
a point,
each
whatever.
year.
Whatever, and you have 1,000 points,
Points,
then
You get.
you get $5,000.
Yeah, okay, all right. No, I'm just trying to understand how it works.
It still seems though, like if there are a ton of calls and they're still splitting the same
The same
44,000.
pool, yeah.
That,
No, because their expenses have gone up quite a bit, over the years.
Right, and I'm looking at, in the training, he's not expended anything, and he still has that $5,000 in there. I do know, having looked, because I had asked Linda for sort of the last 4 years worth of the end of the year drawdown, what it all looks like. And I know in this particular budget, there's about, I don't know, $35,000 to $50,000 on an annual basis that doesn't get, I don't want to say it doesn't get spent, but it's budgeted for, and we don't need that necessarily. So maybe there is room to up this a little bit and pull some other place down that habitually, like hose testing or something. And we only ever spend like $7,200 on hose testing, yet year after year, the budget has been $10,500. So maybe we can pull that down to $8,000 and he can put some extra money in the reimbursement per member or something. But
in the warden section, what's fire versus forest fires?
I know this.
Somewhere.
well, I think the
I don't.
fire warden is the guy who gives out fire pit permits.
Right, that would
The
make
forest
sense.
fire warden, I think, is something different.
That might be the like the assistants who give out permits and things. I'm not sure, I'd have to look, I don't know.
Okay.
I think Chief Brooks is also the fire warden, but who's the forest fires
Who's the
warden?
forest fire warden?
You probably have to have some sort of licensing for both, either
I don't know.
different or.
Or appointment.
Right.
I'm a warden, I think. I can sign permits, I know that, so I think I'm a warden for it.
So we don't know who.
Who the forest
I
fire
don't remember
warden
what
is?
I don't remember the details of what each line means. no.
Do you know who you pay for that? Like, who gets that $2,000?
I wanna say it's like the people who give out permits. I know like Jim Buckley, Mike Morrow, members of the fire department who give out
Fire
burn
permits?
permits.
Because they have to
They
go
have to come
inspect,
out to
right?
their house,
They
to
have
your
to go
house,
out,
yeah.
look at the place
Yeah,
and
that.
make sure it's safe.
The
then they
first
do a
year.
permit, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
if you haven't changed anything, like the second year, you can just,
Call it
Yeah,
in.
you can call it
Right.
in. If nothing's changed, and they ask you, like, has anything changed, you should build a bigger place or something. All right. That budget hasn't changed, so. General government buildings, did you say what?
Yep, never mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
Drop in heat, $2,000. We got a better deal on propane and other stuff?
Oil
or-
this year,
It
yeah.
went
I-
down,
Well, I
right?
think, I wanna say it stayed pretty
Oh,
close this
really?
year to last year, so.
Mhm.
And I did hear them filling it up the other day. So there's still gonna be some expenses that come
Oh,
out of
yeah.
that, but I can't
'Cause-
imagine we're gonna spend another $12,000 on
In-
oil
in
and
another
stuff.
month.
Yeah,
Right.
Less than, right.
I just kinda moved it, I didn't really, you know, take anything out.
And that's to replace the five phones in here, or the,
That's for, yes, the,
Where are you?
sorry.
You went completely into general
On
government
6.
equipment.
Isn't that where we were?
6? No, phones? No, I hadn't gotten past heat.
You guys are so funny.
I thought you were done talking heat, so I just moved down 3 to line 6 phones. Thought we were done talking heat.
Septic service.
Yeah, we're
didn't-
still on phone.
You went past phone. You
Killing me.
So what are the 5 lines, or TH times 5, Linda?
Yeah, there's three phone lines, 2 fax lines here in Town Hall. That's the responsibility of the Town Hall. And then the line at the Historical Society. we pay for.
We have 2 fax lines here?
Yeah, one for the clerk's office and one for my office.
And the Historical Society is like, it's not like a phone line that they use, it's just for the alarm system.
No, I think they have a phone. Don't they?
I don't know.
Maybe it is just for the alarm system. They have a phone line.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go make a phone call, just kidding.
Just to
money's
find
worth
out. And we've not,
Number, see if it
Yeah.
rings.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny.
okay, are you done with phones?
Yes. Thank you. Who are you
Septic
calling?
service,
Live the
we've
next
not
town over.
pumped, we didn't pump this year?
Oh, that wasn't.
We're pretty sure we're gonna have to pump
Me.
next year. I would think. Supplies. That's probably not going down. I mean, paper is not getting cheaper, none of that
No,
stuff, so
no.
is it realistic to leave that at 5,600? Or maybe move it to 6,000?
I don't know, I think they'll be all right. Looking at the other lines. I don't know. I'd like to think that we could keep it closer
Keep it, okay,
to that.
alright.
I don't remember there must have been something odd in there to make it go that.
I just know the cost of copier paper went through the
Oh,
roof.
I bought 4 cases yesterday because they were $34.99 a case.
Right?
I can't give that up. so
No,
I
you
delivered,
gotta buy
you know?
cases,
So,
Cyber Monday.
yeah.
right? No, I was buying 100 cases for the school, and it was $80 a case. It's like, holy
Oh,
cow.
man.
Do you miss working there, Michelle?
Not at all. I do miss some of the people. I
miss
do
seeing
not
you
miss.
there,
I
right.
know.
Although, I mean, I don't really have a middle schooler, so I don't, but I do go sometimes to say hi.
All right, town projects.
I still want to do the floor upstairs, and that's a little under $10,000. I got the quote redone again today.
What about this floor here? This is pretty.
This one's
The rug.
actually,
This is
actually fairly new.
Oh my
This
gosh.
doesn't get compared to upstairs. Upstairs needs it.
Yeah, I don't
Pretty
think
bad.
the upstairs.
so the front porch is that one, not this one.
That one, correct, that's what I'm
that's the
thinking.
front.
Right,
Yeah.
this one needs it too.
This
That
one
one needs to be
needs work.
redone too.
This one,
They both need it.
I feel like this one
It gets
is a
used, that one
safety
doesn't get
hazard.
used.
Right, that one's aesthetic. This
Right.
one is used.
I feel like we've already also talked about this before too.
You what?
I said, I feel like we've also talked about this before.
Excuse me.
Right.
That's becoming kind of a safety
Out there,
issue
right out there?
Where it's all, wood's
Because
all
the
rotted.
plywood is rotted.
It's rotted, yeah.
Put it on, you know it's there.
Okay, it's already, yeah.
Right, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
we need to get that done.
And these are things also that we
Spring.
kind of building into the CIP spreadsheet
Right.
to
Right.
help plan for them
Good.
too. So I guess it's a matter of, how much above, I guess, above, if we're already doing 30,000 in the budget, what would probably roll onto the CIP is what would be above and beyond that 30,000.
Yeah,
Cause like if you can do if the floor can be done for $10,000, okay, that's within budget, like already, doesn't, I don't know. That's a whole other CIP
And it would still leave you
conversation.
20,000 to deal with a sign and anything else, and then maybe put the porches.
well, I'm
As a-
hoping that we can take, even if we encumber it to
That 15,
the 10,000 for the floor this year,
yeah,
you know,
yep.
Wow, that would be nice.
take that and then we use out of that.
And then use the,
And then we'll start with a fresh 30,000 next year to take care of some things.
to deal
Yep.
with both porches and the sign.
It's probably gonna be way more than that, right?
I don't know, depends.
And a lot of times, if you do put out the word, volunteers, you kind of do a little barn raising and help do it.
Like a Habitat for Humanity type of thing where we come and fix the porch.
Well, volunteer, like when it comes to like putting in the elementary school playground, they very
We paid
often,
for that,
this year they did.
correct, because it was, yeah. Yeah, that's too crazy to have people do that. It's,
They did the last one, but that was
Well, you'd have
20
volunteers
years
like
ago.
rake out the
yeah,
mulch or
some people
whatever it
help
was.
with things, but it was too much.
And Coleman donated
For some
time and
things, yeah.
concrete for the swings that we
Yep,
put in
they
last year.
did. Yep.
64% increase, I'm in general government equipment, 64% increase in technology services?
That would be 2 new computers for my office. Kate and I both need computers. We're a year off.
But that's that's $5,500?
And and a
Oh,
server.
I guess, yeah.
And a server, he
And
said
a
he was
server.
supposed
The
to
whole
get this year.
network, server,
Right.
and the labor, IT support to set it up and put it in.
Is that enough then?
That's a lot. Wait, is that enough?
Right. It is a lot, especially since we only used 47 of the $8,500 this year. So is there anything you can encumber this year?
Can you buy the hardware or some of the hardware or something?
Or one of the computers?
Mhm.
Maybe.
Maybe. Says maybe, because you got 3,700 sitting in, I don't know if there's outstanding bills that go against this. that-
I want to say, we will get another IT bill. He sent us one that was like 8 months' worth at one shop, but there's still gonna be more stuff, because I was on the phone with him today, so I know we're getting charges, because, but, something, I can look into it.
Insurance, we can't.
And liabilities are Primex,
Yep, they're both Primex.
Did you say liabilities are what?
Primex insurance. That's like
Primex.
overall general town
Yeah.
liability.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, building, vehicle, all that is on the liability line.
Like town insurance as opposed to people insurance. And workers' comp, 12%, huh?
We haven't had any claims, it's just,
Well, it's just the cost goes up.
And you added
An
a
employee.
new police officer, new DPW
Yeah, it's all
employee.
based on wages.
Wages, yeah.
does it go up if you have claims like homeowners insurance?
I think it does. I know the
It does.
Hartford does.
It does, because I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
paying the workers' comp insurance for the observatory, and we had a guy who had an injury up on the top of the mountain, which, man, getting anybody to even just insure
about
the top
that,
of the
right.
mountain. He tore his ACL. Okay, we're in legal. Witness fees, mileage, expenses for miscellaneous, other than town attorney fees. So town council came down $2,000.
I did that.
We're just not gonna pay him, no.
Yeah, no, he gets his money.
So his retainer is approximately $6,000 a year.
It is we pay him $500 a month as a retainer.
Okay, and so the rest of this then,
Is
the
anything
other
that could-
20,000 was anything that comes up,
Come up.
going to court, filing stuff, giving opinion, no, because giving opinions and review. For $500, how much per month, how much of his time do we get?
Well, it's for general government things, so if I needed advice on how to interpret an RSA, those kinds of things all come under it. So there might be some months that we spend more than our $500,
Right.
you know, but, and it works out pretty well. But then there might be a particular issue, like, that is over and above the retainer, like, reviewing our warrant and all that kind of stuff. That's or, you know, those are things that aren't under the retainer. That's a special thing that he does for us. If we have to take someone to court for a junkyard, that would be over and above,
Right.
you know, those kinds of things.
I get
so.
that, but I would think that the warrant article, review of the warrant articles would be covered in our retainer, because it's an every year thing.
Yeah, that's never been one of the things that's covered in it. It's not that big of a deal, really,
No.
in the long run. But, and a lot of the things that were coming up were STR stuffs, and
Yeah.
we got that taken care of with, and we still have quite a bit of money in that ETF. So, I mean, if the selectmen wanna change it back, that's fine, but that was my recommendation.
If we haven't used it, it makes sense to.
No, we've only used 70% of it, so there's almost an $8,000 balance right now. There may be some bills that we haven't paid yet that are coming due for him.
Yeah.
But-
But the last one, I wanna say bill this month was 800, for November was like $800. And I can't imagine there being
That much in December.
Yeah,
It's pretty
so-
quiet. December's usually pretty quiet.
I think.
Fingers crossed.
You guys are making me nervous.
No, so I'm just wondering if maybe you could drop that to 23,000. You know, I mean, I laugh, $1,000 here, $1,000 there, but at the end of the day, it adds up. But if we're not comfortable doing that, if you're not comfortable doing that.
Well, it would be up to the selectmen, really.
Selectmen.
I just write this as recommendations from what I have,
What you
you know,
know.
living with it,
Right.
and they can take it from there.
Okay, moving on, library. They want a 25% increase in the book money. Is that to purchase books?
Yep. Looks like it's been at 4,000 for over 11 years. So they're looking to up $1,000 to $5,000 a year.
Yeah.
Speaking of the cost of paper.
Right?
That seems like an awfully specific number for electronic materials, $2,364. Did they give you any indication what that was for?
And to go up exactly $649. So there's something, you know,
Right,
something.
it's something specific.
Yeah.
Eversource, wow, their power is way down.
Smart Start program change, charging. I don't know what that is.
Let me check their electric bill, make sure that it's being credited to them.
Fees and dues. Fees and dues are coming down a little. General maintenance, 45. Keep it at 45. Heat. $1,800. The library director's salary, they want to increase by almost $10,000.
Going from part-time to full-time.
Is that all that is? Because that's like 6 hours a week.
Change from part-time, 29 hours a week, to full-time, 35 hours
Right.
a week, yeah. I can do some math.
Yeah.
By moving from part-time to full-time, are there benefit costs associated with that as well?
Absolutely, I would
That's
think
what
you've
maybe
now
where
become
some
a
of that-
full-time personnel.
Yeah. Is that where some of that cost increase comes from? I'm not sure.
Not in that
And if
one.
we're moving this person to full-time, are we moving them to full-time salaried, or are we still keeping them full-time hourly?
Out.
No, there's no pay increase. There's no wage increase, it's a
There's
status.
just
It's just the
Hours.
additional
Extra 6
hours.
hours,
Yeah,
yeah.
6 times how many weeks.
So as full-time hourly, this person earns vacation,
They would be eligible for vacation.
Paid time off. yeah.
paid time off?
Insurance benefits as well,
Insurance.
health insurance and that
Okay,
type of
so
thing.
20%, so 10%.
So that's a new
Six,
head
yeah,
count of
that's
at least 3 employees, and if we add a floater, 3 full-time employees, and then a floater, whether they're part-time or whatever to be
Yeah, because the
determined.
benefits will almost double the cost of the library person.
Hmm?
By switching to full-time and including the paid time off, the insurance benefits, retirement account, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's gonna be almost double that rate. It's almost probably 2 to 1, 2.
Right,
Factor
this,
two.
because this only counts salary.
Salary, yeah,
It's not counting
Right.
throw
And
in,
I think the new police, the
officer.
police officer, the new full-time librarian, and the added DPW position. So those are all of the benefits, or benefits for those positions would all go under the general personnel.
Correct, but there'll only be an increase of 2
Okay.
for insurance.
Okay.
yeah, but that's another,
If the people hired elect it, even. Like hypothetically, police officer might not elect it because they're on a spouse's insurance or something, but we budget for it.
Right, we have to budget for it, yes. But there's no more DPW, it's not added to it.
Do we have to budget for it even if they don't
Elected.
elect it?
Because if they leave and we have to replace them, it needs to be in the budget.
Well,
Right, you
you
can change it halfway through, or.
Or if a
I mean,
spouse
it's
loses
part of the
insurance,
overhead
then
cost, you should budget for it.
if we're offering it,
I
If we're-
suppose.
if we're offering it, it should probably be budgeted for.
Linda, does an employee have a limited window to select, like the health insurance, within 30 days of
Like
being
open
hired?
enrollment and,
I don't know.
Or, if I didn't elect the insurance this year, right, because my spouse or something, but open season next year, could I,
Open enrollments right now, right?
so I could sign up
Potentially.
for
For
the
open enrollment.
insurance, yeah.
Right.
During an open enrollment season, yeah.
Right, which
Right.
is now.
Okay, no, that's
and
what,
everybody can,
yeah, so
everybody has.
we could see that cost in the future. Yeah.
Correct.
But we know about it.
We would know
For
for,
budgeting purposes.
Yeah, I mean, we're a small town, so you would probably know about it, or larger organizations, corporations don't always know about it, so, yeah, they have to budget for it, but I do think that it's important to understand what that number is, should that obligation have to be fulfilled.
Mhm. Well, we will see it in 2025 with 2 new full-time people
Maybe,
selecting benefits most likely.
maybe, you don't know.
We don't know.
Well, no,
Police and library.
right, but we already have them accounted for in here.
It's in the budget already?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's what I'm asking,
Yeah.
okay. Next.
Wait, how did we budget for a full-time? Oh, because it was a position that was vacated, it was already a position that was existing.
What?
The full-time police officer and the,
No, that would be an additional, we had 11 people on insurance this year, there'll be 13 people on
13,
health
I think, when
insurance
we
next
did the
year.
numbers, it was
Right.
13.
Right.
And that would be in anticipation of the new officer, the 4th officer's position being filled, that's not filled right now. And then the library's position.
Here's a,
but are you saying that in the budget part of this, not in the 2024 budget, in the 2025 budget, you have numbers to reflect that?
Correct, there's 13 employees,
Okay.
right?
I think that's what we planned on, the numbers you and I worked on.
how many full-time employees do we have that are eligible for benefits?
Right now,
Yeah.
I wanna say 12,
Oh, okay, so,
so there's,
Almost
and 11 of
everybody
us are using them.
okay,
Mhm.
all right, I just wanted to make sure like we didn't have
right? Yeah.
10 more and all of a sudden.
22 of them.
Mid-year, everybody's like, Aetna goes under and now everybody needs to get on their
Yeah, no.
Madison employee spouses plans. And-
No,
Or there's-
everybody,
Okay,
yeah,
all right, cool.
is taking the benefit,
Okay,
with the exception of one.
yeah.
What's a box fee?
Where?
Oh, the post office box. $153 for postage.
Were you?
Down two or three past the library director.
Okay.
Programs. So do the selectmen have to vote on the library director going from part-time to full-time?
I can't remember if that's a trustees.
Or is it just a budget
If
thing?
it's the trustees' recommendation and then the selectmen vote, or whether or not it's the trustees get to make, I don't even remember.
Don't know, I brought it up
Yeah.
to you guys the other day,
Yeah.
how to handle it, and it kind of was, the selectmen were in favor of moving forward with that.
Yep.
The trustees were the ones who made the recommendation.
Yes. But to answer your question, it
The
is the
selectmen have to
selectmen's
vote on it.
decision.
I guess so.
They vote to approve it? It's
I
kind of
don't
thing.
know as though, I don't know if there.
I don't know if there was, I don't even remember if
can't
there was
think
an
of this-
official vote or not, but it was,
It would seem to me if you're moving
Right.
somebody from part-time to full-time, there
It
has.
was talked,
There
it
should
was,
be a
it was
vote
talked
somewhere.
about.
yeah.
I
It's
mean-
talked about in terms of budgeting and, yeah, it was talked about, but I can't remember, I don't, can't remember if there was an actual.
So there are two separate things, though. There's budgeting, which is just the numbers to pay for it, and then there's the action of actually approving that position to be a full-time position.
Yep.
That doesn't happen just because you put the number in the spreadsheet. It has
Understood.
to happen.
I just can't remember in all the conversations that we've had whether or not there was an official vote for it or
I
not.
can't say that was.
Yeah.
I would think if you don't remember it, there probably wasn't, so.
Do you know me at all?
I sort of do, I think. All right, programs. Library programs, they wanted a $25 increase.
$25 increase,
Technology.
9.1%.
Yeah, I don't, the percentages I only look at in terms of finding something that's large and then looking
Yeah.
to see the actual dollar number, because that's such a small budget item. Any $25 increase is gonna look significant. Technology 4.8. Zoom constant contact. 21, 22, 425, all right. So they're going up 12,000.
No, it's fine.
So there's your, that doesn't seem right. Well, maybe it is. 11.4%, library budget, 11.4%.
The majority of that is the
Personnel.
salary is going to
And the
part-time to
FICA.
full-time.
Yep.
No, the FICA doesn't come out of this budget, it comes out of personnel
Oh,
administration.
that's just there for
my
your,
numbers.
for your notes. Yeah, 3/4 of it is the salary increase. All right, Madison Peg? I think you should just take those guys out of the budget completely, no.
Funny.
I'm only saying that because she's sitting right there.
I think something to take into consideration is that how much the franchise fee is gonna be, because last year it was only $43,000. $43,753, and this year they're asking for $50,000, and if they only get 43-ish again this year, are they gonna come down to that 43, or are they gonna ask for,
Where are we with the contract?
oh, she's still working on it. She's still trying to get those other towns in place. They're keeping us status quo, it's not like we're not gonna get these things. But yeah, they're.
It's part of that amount, like, that we're talking about is determined by the contract
Mhm.
and the percentage that we agree to in the
With
contract.
Spectrum, right?
Yeah.
How much are the cable TV fees? But I think you brought it up, we brought this up several months ago. everybody's dumping Spectrum, they're going to Fidium, you know, a large number of people in town. Is that number gonna go down?
That's what I'm saying. And it's all, actually, the franchise fees are only based on television service, not your internet service
Not
or
your
your phone
internet.
service. You don't get any percentage of that, just cable TV service. And as people are dropping that percentage goes down.
So we could see a significant decrease next year in the amount that Spectrum reimburses the town for their franchise fees.
Yeah, that's why I'm just saying to keep that in mind if they're,
Mhm.
how that would handle if we don't, typically, they just take whatever we had for franchise fees and use that.
And I think Mad TV was coming up with a plan for sustainability, not rely
Yeah, we're
exclusively on the
working on it.
franchise fees,
Yeah, that's, yeah.
We're meeting in a couple weeks, but it is happening statewide. I was just reading an article, every town is
Mhm.
dealing with this because the franchise fees goes towards running the PEG access TV, so.
But
And
Fidium,
everyone's seeing it go down because the people are dropping cable.
Fidium
And the-
pays no franchise fees or anything to the town,
because there's no cable TV.
because there's no cable TV. They're just providing the network.
No.
Okay, I get it.
Because they're paying, when the cable pays, they're paying for that access, you know, like a due for the actual piece of land that they're using
Mm-hmm.
to install.
Okay.
But, I mean, it might change, there's certainly, you know, some towns trying to fight for some of those streaming services
I
to
was gonna
start
say, what
paying.
about the streaming services paying a fee?
There's been some lawsuits, nothing's come of it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, Mad TV is gonna have to go pure YouTube and run commercials.
There you go.
No, you'll have to watch an ad during your.
You have to watch
Well,
an
'cause
ad
it's-
during the town meetings. yeah.
It's still, is it a state mandate that we do these, the streaming of the meetings?
Oh, no.
No?
No.
There's
It's just a
nothing.
benefit,
No, but it's a
There's no
nice.
mandate
Oh,
for
God,
this.
yes,
but we love it.
of course.
I love them.
Then again, if we cancel it, people might have to show
We're
up.
not canceling.
No. We're gonna have to charge the
I love
travel
those
fees,
girls.
that's all.
Gosh, I made you, I love them.
We're gonna go like the Hulu model.
Well, you might still have to videotape the session for legal purposes, so that you have the tape of it, but.
Actually, the
No.
minutes
Just the
would be
minutes,
what,
that's
the
it.
minutes where it go to court.
I don't know, that's
That's why
something.
not every town has this,
Right.
you know, like.
Yeah.
We're very lucky.
It's a huge,
How many people are watching
huge
right
nice to
now?
One. Yeah.
I know, sometimes my kid's checking, like, is she still at the meeting?
She's still at the
That's my
meeting.
kid.
Yeah, it's how they keep an eye on us.
It's probably Jim.
Yeah.
Darn.
Moving on.
He's been texting.
All right.
Moving on, wow, Sharon.
Notes
Let's
and
go.
leases.
Flying.
Well, because it's
That's
7:30
I
and we
know, I
still
was
have this
joking,
whole other.
you guys are like killing me over here.
It has to be done, so. All right, notes and leases. The 2021 loaders, so we still, 2021 loaders, 7-year. So we'll be done in, final payments in 2027?
Yes.
Okay, so until then it's 24,000, 2.9.
Getting close on a couple of them.
Yeah. 2025,
Right.
the 2021 police cruiser. Is that the one we sold?
Yes.
Didn't we pay that off
Yes.
with the money? So that should just come off completely.
Yeah, that's.
It is.
Well,
It does.
it kind
It
of
is.
is.
11,000.
I don't have a line, a number
Yeah.
in there for 2025, but there was information on it for 2024, so I did it.
Yep. The trash truck, we didn't pay anything until next year.
Which trash truck? The
The tw-
2024?
Yeah, that was,
This year.
the deferred payments on that as well.
We used the old truck and trade for $40,000 and $50,000 out of the expendable trust fund.
Yeah.
And then the grader was, if it goes through, is 67,000?
Correct. And that, I have question, you see it says warrant
Yeah.
article questions, because I think it's gonna come out of this line and it would be strictly in the warrant article, but we don't have that all hashed out yet, so I just didn't want it to get
Forgotten.
forgotten.
And then another cruiser?
That would
Potentially.
be a warrant article, so it wouldn't come out of notes due.
Yeah.
Okay.
For that
till
first
the
year.
next year.
Correct.
Okay.
So this 17% increase in this is, right now, it's due to the trash truck.
Yeah.
We have to call it a trash truck.
That's what it says right there.
It's a
trash.
solid-
transfer station,
Solid waste truck.
solid waste.
There we go.
There we go.
disposal, yeah.
TS solid
It's just-
waste.
it
It's
just
kind of like,
sounds-
it's not a dump sticker, it's a transfer
Yeah, I
station.
know.
There we
It
go.
is a nice.
Beach
it's a
sticker.
New truck, it's very
Which I
nice.
I lost both of my stickers.
You're gonna have to pay.
I
You have to
know.
pay.
Pony up,
I know.
Sharon.
I'm hunting for them like crazy. I don't know what I did with them. They were in my left-hand pocket, and now I don't know where they went.
Oh, the new ones are, I think.
Yeah, the new ones are
I gotta
out.
go see Linda.
Yes. and
All right, patriotic purposes, the band. We didn't pay anything for the band?
74.
No longer same tradition. What does that mean?
Well, it's been a few years since we've had a band, it's been a few years since we've done the food and flowers thing, so.
I thought we had a band this year, somebody
No.
said.
I
Somebody said we had a band this year.
guess not.
At the parade? We didn't have a band?
We definitely did last year.
I
Because
know.
it's the
We
Kennett,
haven't paid for it in a long time, so.
Oh.
they use them for volunteering, because the Kennett marching band comes to Gilman, and then they march down to the Veterans Memorial. Right
To
over
the
there.
monument over
Yeah.
there. Interesting.
Well, Jen probably has them do it, Jen McCracken, because she's, lives in Madison, and she's like, is in the band, she's, so, right? That's probably what happened.
Maybe.
That's my guess. But what do I know?
For supplies and postage, I don't understand. Vet monument. Flags, up $300.
They're expensive.
They are.
We replace them every year, and then also from
Oh,
that comes the grave
the
mark.
big
Those
flags.
ones, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't remember putting any little flags out at the vet monument. What's he
Yeah,
talking? What are they
no.
talking
Well,
about?
we
But it's
order
the
a
big
gross of
ones.
those every year, a gross
Yeah.
of the little flags. We order all 6
Yeah, we need
flags
a new
there,
one of
and we've
those.
I order American flags by like the dozen, because throughout the year, sometimes we'll replace a couple of them. And then any new grave markers that get stolen or lost or beaten up or something like that.
Or new ones that have to be.
That comes, yeah.
I was gonna say food and flowers.
That's that same thing, it's not part of the,
On the vet memorial where it says $500 engraving, can we also put /maintenance? Cause aren't I gonna use part of that this year's $500 to pay for the chain? So it's engraving and maintenance for that. And if they're gonna, if we're taking out the 375 and we're taking out 125, can we up the vet monument one by $100 and make it 600? Because I know it's $275, I believe, to put a single name on there. And if we have $600, we can afford to put 2 names a year. And I know we have one name that's sitting there waiting to be done for the spring.
I'll make a note for the selectmen.
Okay, thank you. Next, personnel administration.
I thought the health insurance would, where am I, I'm not looking at the health insurance, am I?
Medical
Yeah,
insurance,
insurance.
line 5.
Shouldn't that come down?
It
Like
did
a-
15,000.
It did, but we're adding 2 employees.
Right,
That brings it back up like that?
of course it would,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Probably by 40, 50K, depending, family, single, We are saving a lot of money by going to the different Blue Cross plan, but when you add 2 new
More
people,
employees.
we still are saving 15K, but we've added more employees.
And that's at the 5% number? Do you have in your hip pocket maybe just, because if the selectmen do vote to use the 10%, then have that, know that
Oh, yeah, it would
that
affect that.
289 will come down,
Yeah, it would affect that line.
yeah.
And same on the dental, I think,
Oh, right.
we're going to an employee
Yep, we
co-share,
recommended.
co-pay on that.
Right.
Again, it's not a lot of money, it looks like
Dental is tiny.
$8,200 a year, yeah, but,
Dental insurance is tiny, although it's, when you don't have it, man,
no, I agree, it's worth the money.
it's worth the $2 or $3 a paycheck. Interesting, we have 14 employees that took dental, but only 13
Yeah.
that'll take insurance.
And then we had 11 and 13 or something like that.
11 and
there's one-
12,
Yeah, there's one person who takes
dental
dental
only.
Only,
Huh.
And the town only pays for the employee. You can add the optional
Right.
family coverage at your own
Yeah.
expense.
Yeah.
But it's not that expensive.
No, I didn't, the school was the same way.
Mhm.
3% town retirement. So yeah, it's coming down in July to 12.75%.
for the employee.
Contribution
Yeah,
level?
the employee portion for the employees, and the police retirement's coming down too.
Police retirement.
Who's, Linda, the state determines that? Like the
Yeah.
retirement system for the
Yes.
state?
It's every 2 years they
They
look
revamp,
at
they
it.
look at how much they have and how many people are drawing benefits and that type of thing, I assume.
There must be a formula, I'm not sure
Yeah.
what it is, but I do
But
know that this
it's
is
dropped
over 5
down
years.
a little bit. That's good.
So I didn't, to come up with it, I did an estimate, I just split everything in half and did half at the
Half at each
January to
level.
June
Mhm.
and the other half at July to December.
And 6 and 7 are the NHRS, Group 1, Group 2, whatever it
Yep.
is.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, employees are group 1, police and fire group 2.
Any other questions on this one? Planning board?
Mm.
Nothing changes. They don't anticipate any bleed over into the next year for the master plan? Because they had
They're
only,
They're asking for a warrant article for the master plan.
100,000, right? Yep. Now, would that be like a full charrette again, or is that just the document?
I think it's just the document.
it's expensive.
They should try to find something like the watershed project where to get $100,000.
They
loan
probably
and-
could ask the same people that go through the
Some kind
state and ask them
state
the
something.
1% loan kind of deal. They do it for all kinds of things. I did it at the observatory for computer equipment.
Just gotta use the restroom. Sorry, girls.
It's okay. So equipment, we're coming down $7,000 for the police. Did they give you any explanation?
Not that I remember.
I mean, they only spent $1,500, so they may have been over budgeted anticipating needing something that they didn't need.
I think they keep holding employees, you're not buying new. I don't know if that's uniforms though, as opposed to.
Like with a new officer.
Uniforms
though,
are down here.
Yeah.
We have to provide uniforms and equipment, right, for the new hires.
There was some
Yeah.
negotiation, I don't know which way it went, but certain, like the vest is personalized and custom fit and stuff like
Oh,
that. So
yeah.
I know there was some.
When they left the old department that they were in,
There was
they
some
brought it with
negotiation
them.
as to whether or not that could be kept and things like that, so that might, if it was able to be carried over, then it might come down off the budget line, because those are expensive, aren't they?
Very.
'Cause they're
You
like-
want them to be. You don't want them to
Yeah.
go cheap on those.
And they have a limited service life.
Yes.
They break down over time, so, every 5, 6 years you have to
You
replace
get a
them.
new one.
Where did contract buyout come from in terms of the budget?
Contract
What is
what? No.
Contract buyout?
Oh,
Where-
buyout?
yeah, where does that fall?
It came out of his, one of the
personnel?
salary lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I wanna say full-time salary?
That makes
I don't
sense.
remember which one.
And I would think if they're gonna be looking at a new cruiser this year, there's gonna have to be some equipment that they buy for it.
They did get a lot off of the old, they kept a
They
lot of
kept
things
a
off
lot of
the
it?
old, but you're right, that could.
Is that
be some-
included
Yeah,
in
so
the
maybe we-
warrant article or under
I
the
believe that's
police
what he's,
budget?
Yeah,
I believe
the
that's what he said, that like,
Upfitting would be included in the warrant article, short of anything that,
yep,
Mhm.
they didn't keep from the old cruiser.
yeah.
Cause he said the light bar itself was like $12,000.
Oh, yeah, they're big bucks.
So I think he said he was looking at $60,000 and that included outfitting, if I recall from the
Right.
select board meeting.
And he did mention that they're coming out with the, state bids and stuff soon. And he's been keeping an eye to jump on those when they come out to get some numbers.
Cool. Oh, and speaking of bids, I'm totally gonna hijack for 10 seconds. Chief Brooks is having some mechanical issues with some of the trucks, including one of the older trucks, and you have that grant information for fire trucks. We should look into that and see if there's anything that can help him.
Yeah, we have to submit by March, I think.
Okay.
There's deadlines, like a
Okay.
window, I'll
Yeah,
check,
yeah.
I'll let you know.
Okay, sorry. Sidetrack.
Sometimes you gotta jump on those thoughts before they escape.
No, I agree.
Right?
Well, we said we were gonna look into it for the next round of police and fire safety stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question on, I'm still in the police, I'm down to the salary holiday full-time. We've only used we've only used 38%.
We probably haven't paid it out yet. Sometimes they'll ask for it at the end of the year for,
Well, granted, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, or New Year's is next year, but,
we still have 2 more pay periods that they could request it from.
okay. Because I'm looking like, if that's less than 50% and they're asking for an increase, another $3,000, $2,500.
Well, instead of, they'll have 4 officers.
And I get that we didn't have necessarily the number of officers that they had budgeted for, so there might not have been anybody to fulfill those holiday full-time.
I expect part-time to go down.
It's staying the same.
Yeah, I expect part-time to go, and then full-time to go up more than it is. You know what I mean? If we're shifting from 2 part-times to 1 full-time, I would expect the part-time line to go down, then the full-time line to go up. Unless it just wasn't, the current year wasn't fully reflecting what is currently going on. And that this going forward would. I suppose it's a question for Chief.
Well, I remember Chief King had said when he was budgeting that he budgeted for 2 part-time 2 part-time officers instead of 1 full-time.
And $16,000 is not enough to have paid 2 part-time officers.
Obviously not, because we paid 17,400 so far.
But even still, that's,
That's only so far. I don't know when they'll last. They have a couple more pay periods. And we didn't have both full-time both part-time officers, did we? I don't think so.
yeah, we'd have to ask Chief.
They were down to just a couple officers for a while.
Yeah. For part of the summer and the early fall.
Yeah.
We expect training to go up by a third.
It's only $3,000 to begin with.
Right, but we use less than 2,000 of it.
We're getting 2 new people.
Yeah, if we use 1,000 per
An officer for annual
most of the
training.
year. and
Is
then
that,
going
but I don't know that.
I don't know what the.
And I don't know what's in that training.
Yeah.
forward. That's chief.
And does this $13,832 reflect a salary increase or just an increase in officer hours? Do we know? Background checks. Any other questions?
Mm-mm.
All right, moving on, recreation.
Oh. Linda, did they end up giving us the refund? They issue a check or give us a credit memo? I spoke with the bus company because the transportation costs were way more than expected. And they gave us so far, or they offered, sounds like have not delivered, a $975 credit on the transportation line.
Mhm.
But I've also asked them to provide us with, because they told us it would be the same as Eldridge, as the transit companies, and then it doubled, and they were gonna send me, no, well, this is what Eldridge gave me, which is why I said it's the same as Eldridge, so it seems twice as expensive as Eldridge, so I don't know if he charged us up and back, and Eldridge only charged us one way sort of thing, so we're expecting a approximately $1,000 credit so far, and then possibly more, depending on what he gives me in terms of,
Because they just took over the Eldridge's contract, so it shouldn't have been like that much. It shouldn't have been.
right, he
more.
said he was gonna send me, here's what Tim Eldridge told me he charged you kind of thing.
Interesting.
So I'm still waiting for that.
Are we gonna contract with the same company in, next summer?
I don't know.
Don't know.
I know for the school, they just extended it.
It just seems we should definitely lock in that price before the summer rec
Right.
program.
Yeah, no, definitely, that's
Yeah.
the plan, is to revisit it all.
I think the kids had a great summer though, so.
No, it did, the program
Right.
went really well.
Right.
All right, so Linda, for you, I have 2 reports for the square. One is the daily general fund versus donations that, super simplified, so for what Jordan would have, need to kind of reconcile. But when it boils down to, we're putting everything but donations into the general fund, aren't we? Because the field trips? Or the field trips?
Correct.
Yeah, so.
But I gotta keep them
Yes.
separate because we gotta pay the wonky field
Where
trip
does the
issue.
square go to?
What do you mean? Oh, it goes into an account.
Right.
That.
But you just
Jordan,
have-
the
just
I just
have-
do the reports.
I see.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening?
It goes into like a holding
Right.
account, and probably
Just-
electronic
I'm just
payment
being
account,
nosy.
and then she
Gets all the info.
transfers it into where it's supposed to go.
Okay.
I just do
Right.
reports on website. But yeah, so, I mean, really, that's the net once Square takes their fees. And then this is how much folks paid for the field trips.
And that should pay for what we paid in field trips.
Yes.
So this does not account for the fees, because I feel like the fees would come out of kind of the, rec takes the hit for those fees, not necessarily
So we'll
a
take,
field trip piece.
so if we have, say, so whatever the difference is between that amount and how much was actually spent on field trips, we'll take from a line in the budget?
Yeah.
Well, because they were supposed to,
Yes,
it's supposed to
yes.
wash,
Yes, it should wash,
so if.
depending on, but I think, so this is what came through the Square, and then
You were the fees might be a
Heather-
little bit.
Heather and hopefully you have somebody tracked all the checks that came into the field trip, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
So
that's-
that is,
that's
so
the
this is, all
square.
right, well, I'll take a look and see if it figures out what I
Okay.
need.
Yep, and I have all the data if you need it a different way, and,
I guess what, part of my curiosity,
yeah.
I know you talked about it before, but there's nothing in any of this paperwork that says that X number of students went to camp, which
Oh.
meant that we were supposed to have X number of dollars taken in to show me that these are actually the amounts that were supposed to have been taken in. You
Oh,
see-
yeah, no,
You see
yeah,
where I'm,
yeah,
what I'm
no,
saying
that's-
with that?
Yeah, no, that's tracked in spreadsheets, it is tracked.
Oh, okay.
And it's all, even every field trip.
But you don't have access to that? Is that what you're?
No, I've never seen it.
So that was, yes, that was tracked by Heather, and she had
Oh,
daily,
okay.
that
So-
she had, yeah.
So that's something Heather could give me
Yeah.
to
To
match
share
up with
with-
these things,
Yes.
to say, okay.
Yeah,
Because
'cause
that's, ultimately,
Yeah.
that's what's got to balance, but I don't have all the information to make things,
Yeah, she would
balance.
check in with me every week before a field trip, and like, who paid on Square, like, who can I let on the bus? So, who's getting sent home? So, yeah, she
No,
tracked
you
it.
didn't send it to
You
get
didn't send kids home.
Yes, we did, because everybody paid.
Joy, you're funny. If I know you, you would have pulled out your own checkbook and paid for them. Just saying.
Well, yeah. I might have been known to do that as well. But anyway,
I know you.
anyway, so that's, so I don't know, so rec had a total of, after Square took their cut, $16,689.50
That's you.
net.
Wow.
That's just through the Square.
Wow.
And that's the sports fees, it's the summer camp registration, swim lessons. And then we had a couple of donations. Somebody just donated $70 just to say, put it towards swim lessons if there's a family who's.
so is swim lessons and everything else called out on this too?
It's all in the general fund, but I have it and I can,
Because we've been breaking it out in QuickBooks by sports fees.
yep, I have that. Yep,
It's
I can
good
do
to
that.
know that too.
Yeah, it gives you an idea of where your income's coming from.
Right.
Yep. I could pull it up on my laptop and tell you.
It's okay. We don't have time for that.
Keep moving.
It's almost 8 o'clock.
Right.
You missed the last one, it was 3 hours, Sarah.
Jeff was in the hospital.
Actually, I know you, yeah, and
That was
Zoning board,
stuff.
it's down $4,800, so I don't really think that there's anything more. We might be able to pull, I don't know that we've sent anyone, we spent $87 in training. Is that for Kate, for mileage and stuff? Because I don't, or no, maybe it was, what's her name? Jennifer,
Oh, maybe.
when Jennifer went. Supplies.
So when we do, sorry,
Go
back to the
ahead.
Square. So when we do the Square, you guys put it back into the budget line?
No, not back in the budget line. It goes into accounts in QuickBooks.
Okay.
So when that money is when I make a deposit, I have to say, okay, $5 of this was from
swim lessons. right?
swim lessons,
Okay.
$5 of this was from
The bus or
the
whatever,
fees
right.
that you took in for basketball, or, sports fees. I have them all broken out in QuickBooks.
Because I have it really broken down, so I'll send you categories and you tell me I only need these categories. I don't need to know resident versus non-resident sports fee. I just need to know
I
sports
always
fee.
need that.
Yeah.
I just need, yeah.
Okay.
You might want to know resident versus non-resident.
I do when I have my pivot tables.
There you go. All right,
Drill started yesterday. It was really fun.
so
Not basketball.
zoning board is the last piece. The grand total, for the 2024 budget was 3.4 million and change. And for 2025, we're looking at 3.529 million, which is a $123,000 increase with a 3.6% increase. The Budget Advisory Committee had sent to the selectmen the desire to see that the budget be held level, which would mean finding another $123,000 savings within the budget. If not, looking for a 1 to 2% decrease, and a 2% decrease is $102,000.
But if the grader goes in, that goes up by $67,000.
It's a warrant article.
That's warrant stuff.
It's a warrant
grader is?
article. The
Okay.
grader
But
is, yeah.
But it will go into notes, these.
Not this year.
Not this year,
Next year.
next year.
Okay.
That's how I
Yeah.
am envisioning the warrant article going this year.
Okay, so when it has the, like, the question marks in there,
Right,
still wouldn't go in there.
Correct.
Correct.
Even for 2025. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So, Madam Selectman,
Yeah.
I'd sort of like to see the selectmen. Is there a plan to talk to the department heads directly? Have them come to a Board of Selectmen meeting and go through the budget, or how are you guys communicating with them?
If I recall last year, that's what happened, is each department came and presented their budget in a meeting, and some folks used the big screen. I think there was one
That
year.
was at an ABC meeting, that was, I
Oh, maybe.
think Bob did that.
Yeah, and I had his comparative different police wages throughout New Hampshire and all that other stuff, like on the big screen. So, was that a budget meeting?
Mhm.
Okay. And I think, did the selectmen come to that meeting? Can't remember.
I think they were here.
So by what mechanism do we use to see if, well, we have to get the selectmen to agree to that to begin with. And that's coming up at your next meeting?
We're gonna review it again, it'll be on the agenda for them until the budget.
Till the
hearing.
budget hearing, right. So are the selectmen gonna discuss? Do I need to come to that meeting to discuss and say, we want to reiterate, we've seen the first draft of the budget and it's a 3.6% increase over last year's. Our guidance is to either hold it steady or decrease it by 1 to 2%. And then have a discussion about it, or?
It's up to you. I mean, it was brought to the attention of the board last time. There really wasn't much discussion about it. It
Right, there was
just-
zero discussion
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Were you at the meeting, Sharon, or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there needs to be some discussion, open discussion about it so that the town and, I mean, it's one thing to sit here as the advisory budget committee and give them our guidance. It's another thing to know that they're gonna either accept that guidance, caveat that guidance, whatever they're gonna do with the guidance. What I'm looking for is a response from the selectmen to say yes or no, or yes, but, I'm looking for a response from
Thoughts and
them.
ideas, right.
Right.
I think a lot of the increase is due to the 2 new employees. No, I mean, the cost.
Regardless,
like-
there
Yeah.
are other areas that could be cut.
I think a
mean, if
lot
you
of the
s-
budget was pretty flat, and the majority of that increase is actually due to adding 2 new people.
I understand
Yeah, how
that.
do we?
What you do then is you start with personnel costs.
Yeah.
And that becomes 1.2 million of your budget. And now if you're gonna hold the budget steady at the same level as last year, and it's 1.2, you now have 2.2 million for all the other things. And you have some things that are contracted, like, ambulance service and those kinds of things. So those go in, because you can't, they're already negotiated,
A
you
lot of
can't
them are
change
fixed
them.
costs, yeah.
Correct,
The
whatever
insurance
those fixed
and all
costs are.
that,
So you
yeah.
start with your fixed costs and your personnel costs and your benefits costs, and then you work from there and figure out, what do I have left? Which becomes, I don't want to call it discretionary spending, but it kind of is. There are things that can't be, like generator maintenance and those kinds of things, but other things can be. So
Yeah, I think the last meeting was, so the ABC meeting 2 weeks ago, the ABC got to go through all this. The BOS meeting, no, you didn't?
No, we didn't have this.
No,
This is the first time we've had this.
Well,
The BOS had this and went through it.
for the
Oh.
first time last week.
But I don't know that you went through it, you just sort of,
We spent a lot of
Lost.
time on the warrant.
yes, you
A
did.
lot of time going through the warrant, because that's where there were a
But
lot of
not on the
variables.
actual budget.
We did not go through it in a huge amount of detail, no.
No.
So I think it requires doing that
So I guess
bearing in mind the request of the ABC
Yeah.
flatliner.
When is
cut
the
to-
next,
Selectmen,
No, it needs
Tuesday.
A week from today.
You need a full budget scrub. You know, just go through and go, okay, where can we
Right,
hold step?
but that's what the department heads should be doing. If they accept the guidance from, if the selectmen accept the guidance from the ABC to hold the budget steady and/or decrease it, whichever one that they decide, whatever they decide, that guidance needs to then be issued to the department heads, and those department heads need to take that guidance and say, okay, we gotta find a 2% decrease. And a 2% decrease in our budget from last year's budget, not this draft budget, last year's budget, the
operating
3.4 million, 2% decrease to that is $102,000. Right, we gotta find a decrease of $102,000, which would take this down to 3.3 million. Right, so, and that's where then the department heads are gonna have to, they're gonna have to scrutinize anything that they said, oh, that sounds good. They're gonna have, you know, like, we spent 2,000 last year, we'll see, 2,000 should work this year. Or, we didn't spend 2,000, only 1,800. They're gonna have to really take a good hard look at the actual numbers and really do a bit of a deep dive into it to figure out. On a department head by department head basis, I'm happy to sit down with them and work with them to do that if they'd like us to, but I'm not gonna commit for anybody else. But I will commit for me to do that with them and see if we can't help them. But I need the selectmen to make that decision.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's about 6 lines that increased by 5 figures, as in $10,000 or more total change to that department line. 5 of them are because of personnel. So if we want to be adding personnel, we have to be cutting elsewhere.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
comes down to, that's where the
Yep.
increase is at. Because the money that we were saving on the insurance that we worked hard on has been eaten up by adding 2 new people.
Correct.
Right, so we're staying close to the cost, but we've added,
In real dollars, right?
yeah, real dollars, but we've added, went from 11 to 13 people,
Right.
so.
So. I guess we're kind of at a, I don't want to say we're at a standstill, but we have to wait to see on Tuesday night. I'll come to the meeting just in case there's questions about it. Linda, if I need to be, do I need to be added as a line or something to the agenda? Or is the budget discussion part of the agenda?
It'll be on the agenda.
Okay.
Like I said, it's gonna be on there every week until
Sure,
the budget
yeah,
hearing.
okay. So then we don't need to add anything special, I'll just show up.
And I've got a note here
Okay.
to note the ABC requesting a commitment to reduce flatline the budget. And I've got the note that 5 of the 6 $10,000 plus increases are due to personnel in the 5 different areas, so. Okay, does that
Okay.
work?
Yep. Let's move on to warrant articles. I know that you were, and I didn't, that you were, adding up all the warrant articles.
Yeah. I wrote 'em down.
In the end, what did they come to, do you know? I mean, some of them don't have numbers assigned to them yet, but I know Linda has to wait, like these intent letters, but no petitions. And then some of these others, they're like X dollars.
There were a few things that got filled in Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, right? You know, like Article 19 still has X dollars, 18 still has X dollars.
19, right, they're meeting tomorrow, Thursday night, they'll have a number in there.
So 7 and 8, 7, 8, Article 5.
This one.
So 5, 7, 8,
5, they were looking for approximately,
$500,000, right? We know that based on the information from the road.
Just the survey and when I met with Josh and the cost estimate we received so far,
Right. So
it's
I
500K.
had warrant articles aside, I was trying to see if there was somebody from DPW who could be here to answer some questions about this road priority list. But I don't think that they're available. Yeah, they're not available. And even if Josh isn't available, I'm not sure anybody else knows. I don't know if Justin knows or Dave or anybody.
I think Josh would be who you'd want to talk to.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That's my preference.
He's gonna be, the selectmen asked him to be at the next meeting to talk about the roads and stuff.
Okay, so maybe we,
Assuming, I'm gonna offer that as something in their books to look at, so.
okay. So we may get more questions answered because I'm 1, 2, 3, 4.
so the 2 that were blue, sorry, go ahead.
No, you were gonna say, go ahead. The two that were-
Article 5, we were estimating 500,000, and Article 8, we were estimating approximately $17,000. And the rest of the blanks Linda filled in, except the ones that are really,
Article 6 is not 377K, it's actually 473K. The lease agreement was, with all the payments and everything, are actually $473,000, not 377.
The amount of the lease was $377 though, not including the interest and stuff.
Yeah, but shouldn't the,
It should include the
It should
interest,
include the
because we're
total
still
cost.
obligated to pay for
Right,
it.
but I don't believe that's the way it's written.
no,
Right then.
that's what I'm
So
saying.
we need
Our
to-
actual cost is 473K.
Who, is this, did this come from the selectmen or did this come from DPW, or do you know who submitted the draft language for this?
Me.
Oh.
Well, you want me to, I can rewrite it tomorrow.
Well,
and
it's
then
not a
we'll let
matter
them
of
agree.
rewriting it, it's the way the DRA wants it written,
Right,
and that's
you
how they want it
Yeah,
written.
but the
They
actual
don't write-
cost is 473.
But the amount of the lease agreement is $377, that's how it's written.
Yeah, but that's misleading.
That's how they're always written. If you go back looking at any of them,
I know,
it doesn't
but-
say it.
People are gonna be voting on that. and-
Can you
But it
put in
says the
here?
67 under it, right?
That's just the
Right.
first, those are the yearly
Right.
payments. Is there a
can
way
do
to put
math.
in,
Right.
in the amount of $377,500 for principal plus whatever it is for interest, for the purpose of leasing a grader? It's not leasing a grader and to raise and appropriate,
I don't know, if the selectmen want it written that way, I can put it in front of DRA.
okay. Because I do think it, that as a town voter, I would want to know what's the total cost gonna be to our.
And that's also something that can come up in discussion.
I got the
If they won't be
paperwork.
allowed in the warrant article, because
Right, if it won't be allowed.
that's,
I have
DRA's
the
call.
paperwork from Tax Exempt Leasing Corporation. Their original quote, the new grader selling price, Milton Cat, was $410,000. We received $32,500 in trade-in. So the financed amount is what is in the warrant article, right? 377,
Correct.
377K. But we have a 7-year lease at a 5.99% interest rate. The payment each year is $67,599.44. Total payment over the 7-year lease is $473,196.08. So that warrant article is misleading because we're actually committing to $473K in cash and payments,
Right.
not $377.
yeah. Or you can do the math with the 67.6 times 7, and you can come up with a.
Right.
Yeah, but I think it should be clear to the taxpayers that they realize this acquisition is actually
Right.
The total is
$473,000.
I
Right.
agree, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
DRA is
Yeah, I don't know how
the keeper of
we-
the wording.
And it's funny because a lot of times I'm like, these are so confusing, when the school does their warrant articles and they say that's how they have to be written. I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense to
Right.
me.
No, but I think we should, somehow we need to make it clear that what the actual cost is. right? If we're gonna vote on this.
Right, it's somewhere in here, be able to put the total cost of the lease will be 473,196. Or, 196,08 or 196 period.
And the warrant article also states, as written, that there's an escape clause, but there's also a financial penalty if, I read the contract. We're gonna owe $60,000.
No,
They've just not taken a used grader back.
yes, they are. That's the escape clause.
We have to pay the transportation of that
The
machine
train is not
back.
60,000, that's all we pay, is transportation over 100 miles.
They're not giving us a grader for free, I'll tell you.
No, they're not, because we paid for the first year, in a sense, the first part of it
With
with
the
the
32.5 trade.
grader. Correct.
Okay.
So
all
what
right.
we've been using
Yeah, no, I
now,
agree.
we
There
paid
was
that.
some money
So-
there, yeah. Okay.
But that, you could say paid for last summer through
Yeah,
town
that's
meeting.
half a year.
And then at
Yeah.
town meeting, if this doesn't pass, we put it on a truck and we pay
To truck it
to
back.
truck it back.
And we've lost the old grader. We're still
We've
out of
lost the
pocket.
old grader, the new grader.
$40,000,
And we've also
yeah.
ruined our credit with
Yeah,
both
that's what I
milk
mean.
cat
So there
and
is a
taxes and
penalty, that's,
leasing.
yeah.
But
that's-
not a financial, not a
Oh.
monetary one that we have to actually pay money.
No, but,
There are consequences, sure.
oh,
am-
big time, yeah.
Really surprised that they will take back cap back without any further financial, like requiring the whole first year's.
Nope,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing.
They're
That's the hub.
presuming we're gonna.
Well, we're out to 32.5 plus the transportation cost.
Yeah, but
so almost
32.5 is
$40,000.
half the year. It's half, it would be half the,
I think we're gonna end up paying money somewhere. I know.
fingers crossed.
Well, yeah, don't say that. I mean, we just have to make people aware that they have to vote and how they're
Oh, I
gonna
know.
vote. And if they don't vote, then this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm not, we
Because
just
then we're
need to
gonna
make
be
people
totally
aware
screwed.
that there is,
But if
yeah.
we don't have a grader now, then now what? Now
Oh,
we're-
I know, that's the thing.
Now, there goes your budget, Sharon.
We're really in a hole then, I know. I'm
Are
just,
they working on a plan B if it doesn't pass?
Who?
DPW?
I don't believe
what
so.
happens
I
at
think
the
it'll be up
town
to
meeting
selectmen
if
to
this
find
gets
that
wrong?
plan.
Right.
It'll be up to the selectmen to find that plan B.
Right.
Well, no, just backup graders, what else is, like, are we still
They can
shopping?
rent them, and
Yeah.
then, but then your budget's gonna go, like, I mean, it's, you just, I don't know.
I guess just, are they still shopping around for other options?
I don't know.
Well,
That'll be something to ask at the next meeting.
that's the hole
Right, and
we've
is
got
that their
on this.
responsibility?
Yes.
The DPW to have a backup plan for
For
less,
gr-
for another grader? Yeah.
I would think so. As the department head, you
Well,
might
I
wanna
mean-
have a plan in your pocket just in case.
Rent it.
Right.
True, rent it
That's-
or contract out the grading of the roads or any of those other
Right.
options that were in the
I
original
know.
paper that
Right.
was
We're
done.
really in a hole here if this doesn't get approved.
Right, tell all your friends that they need to vote. It's making me nervous.
No, I know, I've been worried about this since day one. I mean, this is,
It's,
I
well,
lose
I mean,
sleep over this.
Okay, so back to these. Do we know what the total was for all the
Well-
warrant articles? Because what'd we say?
So what are we gonna do on the warrant article? How are we gonna rewrite that?
14,
Linda?
15.
You have to ask the
16,
selectmen, and
17.
she's gonna have to go to TRA.
If
Yeah.
the selectmen want it worded that way, then I
Just
would
to
have
show
to
the
ask
total
Department of
cost.
Revenue.
Right.
Yeah,
And then we'll have to bring it up during discussion.
Right.
yeah, all right.
I mean, we're just our advisory here, we're not like.
No, I know,
you
but-
can't tell them what to do.
No, I can
unfortunately.
advise them to
Correct.
do something,
Correct.
but they don't have to take our advice.
Correct.
Yeah, but, you know, the way it's currently written, it's showing 100K under what the actual
Make
cost
sure
is.
you go to the selectmen's meeting, Joe, and bring that up to them too.
It's just, I'm trying to be
I
realistic.
know, but
Yeah.
so am I, so
Yeah.
I think you should definitely go and bring that up.
Okay, on 18 and 19, did we have, we
Right.
don't have any, we didn't have any numbers to put in there? Even, like,
Well, 18 depends on how much they don't spend of their budget, so we don't have a number there. And 19, they're gonna decide that on Thursday night, that's at their conservation meeting.
oh, the Conservation Commission meeting, okay.
Joe, are you taking notes over there, girlfriend?
Taking notes, calculating.
She's calculating, she had calculated, I thought you had
What are
calculated
we
this
at
at town meeting.
1.5 million or so in
Yeah,
warrant
we came up
articles?
to, like-
Close to that.
Close to 1.5 million in warrant articles, so 3.5 million budget goes to a 5 million budget.
Yes, that's,
I had in the CIP kind of done some calculations, but that didn't have the new numbers.
Right. And there's no, 63,000 for the police cruiser, but it also has X for the first year's payment. We don't know what that's gonna be.
All right, approximately 1.6 million for the numbers that
That are
we
in
have
here.
and that we penciled in tonight.
Okay, so 1.6 million.
So that doesn't include pay TV because we don't have
Right.
even a guesstimate. The only two,
Which
I-
that's like pennies on the.
I estimated Article 5 at 500,000.
Yeah.
I did count in Article 6, I did count the 473,196.08 that Joe gave us. And then for Article 8, I did use that estimate of 17,000.
And did you use for Article 7, 63,000?
7, I did.
Okay.
I think
And that's 1.6
forest maintenance has
million.
typically been 10,000, but I know that'll be, like you said, that'll be discussed.
All right, so it says 1.6 million, but how close are we to 1.6 something, other something? It's 1.605?
Yep,
Okay, so.
1,605,567.08.
So they're 10,000, even if it's 15,000 or 20,000, it's not gonna put us at 1.7 million.
Correct.
It's gonna keep us in the 1.6 million range.
Correct. And this does not, did this include the 165 for the dam?
Oh, I
I feel
don't,
like I didn't see that.
Article 15?
Article 15?
Okay, yep. it was in there. Yep, 166, yep, I included it. Yep, so that's 1.6. 1.605.
We had, I think in maybe it was just last year, you had also included in the warrant articles what the tax implication would be.
We never did up the pen either.
We didn't put, you couldn't, I think we couldn't end up
I don't remember why it didn't, I think the selectmen didn't, we had it in the summary.
in the summary. This one, in this part?
In
Or-
that last page of the town report that shows all the warrant articles, it's a little spreadsheet, the very last page. You don't have one here tonight, you'll get one eventually, but that's where all that, it had that column that showed how much it was, how much dollars per thousand or pennies per thousand it was.
So it's 1.8 for general government, 1.019 for basically DPW, and then 666,000 for public service, public safety,
And
and then 1.6 million for warrant articles.
So what are we at? 5.2?
You're at
Two,
1.8, 1019, 666, and 1605. What, 1844.
I have 5,080,085.
5085?
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of
That's a
money.
boatload of money.
Because the warrant last year looks like was 397,000.
No, it was more than
No, it had to
that.
be
Oh, you're,
You had
yeah,
like 30 warrant
the
articles.
200K for
400,
the roads,
430, well, I'm going off the
250.
report.
250, then
250
the
for the
transfer
roads.
station truck.
That has everything, this has everything except the operating budget, first three warrant articles.
Yes, it's total warrant articles, 397,000, 250 for the
Yeah, looks like
road.
we didn't include the
We
charity,
didn't
so.
include the, okay, so 432 if you include these. 250 for the,
For the roads.
for paving, 40,000 to repair Modoc Hill, 9,000 for the ballot count device. Heavy highway equipment, we added 10,000. Transfer station, we added 15. Assessing, they added 10.
Oh.
Historical Society, 10. The dam was 10. Conservation Commission was 5. Groundwater ETF was 35. Mad TV was close to 10, 9,800. Add to the Veterans Monument Fund, 2,500.
I know John had talked about bumping up the DPW transfer station capital ETF to at least 15,000, no.
We added 15.
We have it 50, I think he had suggested bumping it up.
Putting, because they've spent some out of it?
One of the issues coming up there,
Just the
Joy,
backhoe, they're gonna have to pay for the backhoe.
Well, that should be a separate.
it's gonna have to
warrant.
be repaved up there within the
Yep.
next couple of years as well.
Yep,
So that's gonna be some money to repave
yeah,
all the
that,
roads around the transfer station there.
So we really only had $432,000 in warrant articles?
I guess so.
So we're what, 4 times that
We're
now?
4 times that.
Well, you
Wow, look what
doubled
we're
the,
buying.
you doubled the
doubled-
road, you
right.
added $166,000 for the dam.
And we added
$500,000 road grader.
for a grader.
Yeah.
and as I was doing the math, I wasn't even necessarily reading them. Does that include adding to the groundwater ETF?
That one there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
The warrant
the new
articles
ones for
here.
2025.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
We
that
know what
one,
warrant article it is?
wasn't it?
I don't
I think
remember.
so.
Transfer station assessing.
There it is. Yeah, 100,000 for the.
Oh, right, that's a
groundwater.
big one too.
Article
Right.
16, yep.
16.
I mean, some of them
Oh, yeah, it's
quadrupled.
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, no, this is,
And we're at what, 1577 this year?
1577 for what?
The tax rate.
Oh, yes.
I'm thinking what this quadrupling this does to the tax rate.
Well, we're only responsible for that tiny little portion of it.
well, the payment's spread out over 7 years for like the road grader.
You
Right.
know.
True.
I mean, there's three other components to the tax rate,
Right.
and we're actually.
The smallest, one of the
Well, Not
smallest.
the smallest.
The
but-
school is the biggest. The school's more than 50% of the tax rate. Because it was 864 out of 1577. So it was more than 50% of our tax rate is
Right.
the school.
Hey, we're looking pretty good at the school.
What?
We're looking pretty good at the school over here.
I would suggest that anything that can be put off, although I'm thinking next year's not much better because we have $2 million potentially
dam.
coming down the pike in order to fix the dam.
Somebody forwarded me, I think 2 different people forwarded me potential grants for the dam. So I have
Okay.
to look into those.
So that would be a good thing.
Yep.
If we didn't have to ask for, but that's something we probably have to pay for first and then get reimbursed, maybe.
know. Some of them, some grants, you just
You
have to
just
have
get
that
up
like
front, yeah.
commitment. You have to be able to say, okay, the town has $50,000.
But this,
Tilt.
a lot of those, you have to have something ready to go, and this
Yeah.
$166,000 is what's gonna get us in that position where we can actually say, this is what we need to do, this is what we're asking for.
Exactly.
Right, here's the plan.
Yep,
Yeah, so that 166 is fairly crucial
yep.
to fix it. And they need to be prepared with what are they need to be prepared at town meeting to tell the townsfolk, what are the repercussions if we don't fix the dam? What happens if that dam lets go?
Yep. Well, I did,
What's the
We
downside?
did talk about that.
yeah.
But I mean,
It turns out it's
Not as bad as you think.
Yeah,
but-
exactly.
Yeah, I know
That's
what you
exactly
mean.
what I was trying to figure out how to say.
Property damage wise.
Yeah.
No,
I
it's
mean-
not critical. I looked it up on the state records.
Right. But value wise and aesthetics
it's gonna
wise,
lower the lake.
by like
Oh, yeah.
8 feet.
8 feet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the lake is gonna drop.
Sure.
Big
Yeah,
time, yeah.
it's basically saying that the surrounding area could handle
Yeah.
the
The runoff.
overflow.
Yeah.
Could handle, if it broke, it could handle the runoff / overflow, yeah. But it would drop the lake 8 feet and plummet property values all around the lake.
Plus Ossipee Lake would go up by 8 feet.
Well, it only,
Down the street, yeah.
Do you know, I figured out, I worked for the
Okay.
Historical Society and found out why it's called, when it got changed to Silver Lake, and it used to be 6 Mile Pond, and why it was called
It was
6 Mile Pond.
Pond, yeah.
But do you know why? Not because it's 6 miles in any particular direction, it's because it connects to what was known as 6 Mile Brook, because it's 6 miles from Silver Lake to
To the-
Ospey Lake.
To Ossipee Lake.
And the reason I made that connection was because of the railroad station. Because it was changed at the exact time that the railroad came in. And so presumably I was thinking, who wants to stop at the Silver Lake, at the, 6 Mile Pond Railroad Station? People would want to stop at the Silver Lake
No, it
Railroad
sounds
Station,
like
at the
it.
Silver Lake House and all of that. So I think that had a lot to do with the name change and then.
I looked up the history of the dam, actually, going back through the historical records in the state. Yeah, I think I sent it to Linda.
okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop. Let's get back on track, because it's 8:30.
8:30.
You were talking about the dam,
Right,
so.
so, yeah, sorry.
Nope, we're good.
It's cold. Turn my cup back on.
All right, because we're only halfway through this agenda. Although I don't think there's
We went
much,
through the big stuff.
there's not much to talk about with road priorities
Do you
without,
have on the-
Come right back
without
over.
talking to DPW, and so, we have the information that it's gonna be $500,000, and it's broken down by road. And so Mooney Hill Road is a,
Yeah, I went out and, after I met with Josh, I drove the roads and everything and took a look, and it's, especially Town Line Road is in pretty bad shape. And I collected some of the history on it, and the issue is we've deferred maintenance on the roads for a decade. And the cost is just going up and up every year. I mean, we're at a point where we have to do something on the red roads, the high priority roads.
right, but my question was, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mooney Hill Road's not really a red road, other than the fact that we need to get that top coat
It needs to
on
be finished.
Yeah, it needs to
that's
be
why it's on the
finished.
list, yeah.
And it's the most expensive road to do. It's the most expensive road to do. Oh, no, not, it's the, second most expensive. Forest Pines is the most expensive. It's interesting. There's only a 370-foot square yard difference, and yet there's a $60,000 difference.
Well, Forest Pines is, it's broken in places down to the road base. I mean, there's big potholes,
It's not great.
the asphalt's all
I've seen it.
settling
Yeah,
down.
it's not
So
great.
there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. That's, and, I mean, the
But
costs have gone up 53%.
But I understand, we're doing a top coat on Mooney Hill Road. The
Yeah.
road has already been done, but it's still $98.75.
Probably not. That was probably the amount that was to bring it back in the first place.
Well, this is, no,
This
the
was-
actual
This was
quote
done
that
November 4th, so.
that Josh gave me for the 6 roads on the list for next year.
I don't know. Maybe we
Yeah.
should double check that, because maybe $500,000 is more than we need. Maybe we only need like $450,000.
Yeah.
So I think
Well, I
that Mooney Hill
rounded it
Road.
up because it was what, 480 or something
Yeah.
there? So I said, 500K
Right,
to
right,
allow for any cost
Any cost-
increases between now and next summer. Yeah.
right. But I think that road should be checked, because it should not be $100,000 to put the top coat on that.
One of the recommendations I made.
Because there's no, it says 9 grinds. There shouldn't be any grinds.
Not on Mooney Hill.
Right, and that's what it says.
Yeah.
Mooney Hill Road, grinds, 9 grinds. It should just be the overlay.
The overlay, yeah. But I suggested, and the memo I put together was that we get 2 or 3 other price quotes,
Absolutely.
from competing vendors.
Absolutely,
We can
but
get
I
it.
just want to make sure that they're quoting, or at least looking at the roads in the correct, like, they know that it's just putting the top coat on Mooney Hill, as opposed to grinding down the road. and-
Yeah,
Yeah.
taking up the
Um,
old stuff and, yeah.
But then looking at the list of the 6 roads that he got quotes for, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 roads that are in poor condition. What's happening with the other 4 roads?
I'm not sure, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so, and then the other question we had was what constitutes, like what makes it, what's the
criteria.
The criteria, thank you, the criteria
making
for,
good, bad, ugly.
right,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
being
yeah,
poor, moderate, good, or great.
Yeah,
You know, what's the difference between good and great?
yeah, I'm not sure.
And then,
Yeah.
I'm not, this is not all of the paved roads. I don't think this is all of the paved
I think the
roads.
DPW might have been looking at the highest priority reds, you know, their opinion, what the worst case was, and try to knock them out in 2025.
And then we, try and pick the next,
Yeah. We're so far behind on road maintenance. I mean, you look at, a lot of our roads are red or yellow. And I think you pointed out earlier, we haven't even got the list of the gravel roads yet.
right,
Improvements that need to be done
on the
as
gravel
far as
roads.
ditching, culverts, you know, drainage, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, so, and,
Those costs wouldn't be anything that we'd have to farm out, though, those would be done, any of the
Those
dirt
would be
roads,
done
things
in-house?
In-house.
Okay,
If we
all
get to
right.
keep that grader.
I don't know if the grader gets to do the ditching.
I'm never gonna live this grader
Just
down,
saying.
I'm telling you.
Okay, so
I
anyway,
want them to keep the grader. I'm excited about that. But I do. I'm gonna
Oh,
go front
all right.
for sure.
Next to the dirt.
all right, so we're gonna,
You're
at the
right,
Board of
it
Selectmen's
was.
meeting, will you be able to attend? Would you be able to attend?
Week from Tuesday, today.
Week from today?
Yeah,
Tuesday, okay.
Is it gonna
just
go
send me a
till
reminder.
midnight?
I can't keep track what I'm doing like the next day.
No, I know. Okay, moving on then. 2024 revenue worksheet. Any questions about it? Has anything changed, anything significant, and did you add your,
We can add in 16,000.
the awaiting detail goes from 4,000 to 16,000?
No, I think it's in addition, because is that 4,000 the square that I had given you previously, or is that just what you guys have received in hand?
Don't know, that number went in there in like August when I
Okay.
first had needed numbers, so.
Okay. So, I mean, last year rec revenue was in that kind of $22,000 range, so it should be a little higher this year, because they started charging for sports and more staff, summer camp staff meant higher enrollment and stuff, so.
Right,
So it should be a little bit higher.
okay. Everything else still looks fairly the same.
And a little, few updates. Transfer station fees went up.
Yeah, they're at 73,000.
Sharon knows for some replacement stickers, so that number will go.
Yeah, that'll go up.
Sharon, yeah,
No,
Sharon owes
that's up,
some money.
that's
yeah.
vehicle permits and fees, I don't know if that's up here, boats, fees, town, is that town clerk, those fees for those stickers, I can't believe I don't know where they are.
I know, that's not like
Killing,
you.
it's very much not like
I
me.
know.
I know where everything is. Alright, so 1.2 million we're at. Do you have any idea or estimate where you think this will end up at the end of next month? There's nothing in here that you're expecting. Is there a huge glut of people who have to renew their cars in December or any of that kind of
I
stuff?
have no idea.
No idea, right? Lots of people are gonna get married in December.
Linda, have you heard any more on the additional FEMA money, the storm money?
No, actually, Michael and I were just talking about that, because he said to me, he goes, you didn't happen to get a really good check lately, did you? And I
That's
said,
what I'm wondering, have we got another
He
check?
goes, I figured you'd have told me.
That would
but-
help.
Yeah.
That would help.
No, that will help, yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Did you hear?
Did we have, somebody asked me if there were ARPA funds left over? Because
There
stuff is
are.
of course coming out, like, must be done by December 31st. I think we just got an NHMA email or something about it. What do we have left and where are we?
What's the plan? Spend it.
I wanna say,
Oh, didn't you say we had something like almost $60,000 left?
What is it, ARPA money?
40 ARPA money. 40,000? There was a discussion about using some of it to pay for, now I forget what it was.
The pavilion is what some of it was talking about. At one point, that's what, you know,
Yeah,
kind
that
of
was,
like,
I'm thinking like the last Board of Selectmen's meeting
oh,
or
the PFAS stuff?
to pay for the, was it to pay for the PFAS testing?
I wish I remembered. That
It's
would
gotta
a
be in the notes.
Very
It'll be
good
in your
use for
minutes.
it. That would be a very good use for it.
I think it might be in the minutes, or I think that may be it, to use that 11,000 or whatever it was for the additional testing, use that ARPA money. That still leaves it with 28,000 or so. I mean, you wanna spend that out, you wanna get that obligated
Has
and
to be
spend that out
spent by the end of the month, right?
by the end of December, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we are in December, aren't we?
Yeah, so we got like 3 weeks to use the money.
Can we earmark it now for
You got obligated.
PFAS bills that come in January or February?
No,
Because
it has to be committed, expensed, any of the federal grant stuff like that.
Yeah, I didn't know what committed meant, as in,
It's
like, we know there are
You
bills.
use the money, like you've spent it. It has to be,
I have to look into it, I don't know.
Yeah.
off my head.
Like there,
Because now that we're extending the testing out another 1,000 feet, and we're gonna have to pay Wilcox and Barton for that, like, can we get that invoice now?
well,
And
that's
use
what
it
I'm,
for
you could
that.
probably, yeah, pay the invoice in advance or something. I don't know. You have to look
you
at
have
the
to be very
grant rules.
careful about
Yeah, you have
paying in
to
advance.
make sure you read the rules.
Okay.
Yeah, any restrictions on, it may only apply to actual current expenses. you
Yeah.
know, During the grant period.
Expenses incurred during the
That-
grant period.
That grant period,
Yeah.
so, yeah, you gotta be careful.
Okay.
They,
Okay, I'm gonna forego looking at the trust fund and warrant article drawdowns, cause we kinda did some of the drawdown,
Nothing's changed.
and it's, right, and it hasn't really changed since the last time we met. The CIP, do I have anything, so the Board of Selectmen talked about it
Yes,
at the last meeting,
Yep.
and you guys were you recommended to the board that it be sent to the department heads for them to look at.
and
Has-
Linda was gonna,
Has that happened?
Yeah.
Okay. Did we give them, did the selectmen give them any guidance on when you were expecting comments back? Like before the next meeting
The
or?
meeting on the 23rd, so I asked everybody to get back to me by the 19th so I could compile it.
Meeting on the 23rd.
it's a Monday, had to be moved to a Monday, cause
Christmas Eve.
24th is, yeah.
Wait, if there's a meeting, oh, that is 2 weeks from. Wait, yeah. So the 23rd, I'm not.
3
gonna
weeks
be
from
there.
now.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so-
John seemed happy with it, his only comment was, of course, we threw everything in, including the, kitchen sink, AKA push mower. So John was just, take those out,
Well, I think that they're good to have on the detailed report, I think on the, cause then it's still an expense that you're gonna have to plan for. And I think that the idea behind this big, long sheet was get, department heads thinking about those expenses that are gonna have to be planned for instead of just having it come up and now what do I do about it?
Yeah.
This way they're thinking about it 2-3 years ahead of time, that, oh, I'm gonna have to replace some of this stuff.
But I think they felt like if
They were
you
overwhelmed?
replace a push mower, that would be a budget item, not a
It-
CIP.
It depends on the mower, right? I would think. I didn't think a chipper was $80,000, so,
they are, everything's like
Right.
doubled in price.
So, anyway, that was the feedback, and that was,
And if that's the case, then it comes off of there, once you decide it is a budget item, but until then, I think it's still a good idea to keep it visible to them. I mean, hopefully the goal is at some point they use this as a working sheet. December 23rd, comments due back. Okay, other than that, anything else on it?
no, I was trying to take notes on it as folks were kind of going through it and looking at things. But
So it went out to them already though, Linda, you
Did.
said? Okay. Thank you. All right. Anything else on the CIP?
Nope.
Health insurance. I don't know that there's anything more necessarily to say about it. We've sent the guidance to the selectmen. It's now kind of in their lap to figure out what they want to do. Same with the general budgetary guidance. Those are both with the selectmen, and we'll go to that next Tuesday's meeting and see what comes up and what answers we have to questions that they ask. Anything else?
I got nothing.
Anyone? Sarah, you have anything?
No.
Where does the school budget stand?
Speaking of, there is
You guys
a,
are coming on the 16th.
yes,
right?
there's a joint
Okay.
meeting where the select board has been invited to join the school board
Yeah, that's on the,
on
I will tell you right now.
Monday.
It's Monday the 16th.
Yeah, Monday,
Yeah,
December
16th at
16th.
5:30.
At 5:30?
Correct, that's the select board meeting, and then we'll be discussing the budget, so we would love the budget committee to be there
Yep.
at 6 PM. Laugh it up, Joe, but you better be
I
there.
know. I'm adding it to my to-do list.
Okay, do you want me to give you a copy of this, or?
Have Linda send me
And
a
then on the-
reminder.
There's a veterans committee meeting at 5.
Then, and
Yeah.
on the
Needs a
6th
long
of
time.
January is the public hearing on the budget at 7 PM.
When was that?
January 6th.
6th.
At 7 PM.
And that's in the gym?
Correct. I would assume so.
Can you ask Holly or Heather to add that to the MES calendar?
Sure, I can do that.
Let's see.
And I think my work here is now done. No.
All right, December 16th,
I'm tired, I got pantry duty tomorrow.
6 PM.
Yeah.
This is school budget.
So school budget hearing, the hearing you said was the?
Yeah, I'm just gonna
January
take a picture of
6th.
this calendar and I'm gonna send it right over to you.
Did you say the 6th or the 7th for the?
6th.
The
January
6th
6th at 7
is the
PM.
regular school board meeting is the 6th at 6 and the public hearing on the budget is at 7.
Okay,
I'm
Thank
just
you.
gonna send you a picture of it,
thanks.
cause that way, you'll just know.
Alerts, alerts, alerts.
Yeah.
2 days before.
They do have it as the school board meeting from 6 to 7, they just don't, or 6 to 8. They just didn't have the budget hearing as a separate,
The public hearing on the budget, okay.
yeah, they just didn't have that public hearings broken out.
Okay.
January 6th.
Well, I will
Oh,
remind them
shoot.
of that.
I guess I'm coming home early.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, and nothing else? That's
I
it?
have nothing, yeah.
Okay, there being no further business, do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, you just did. Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and we will reconvene on December 17th here